The devil was that? Derek's been playing around with the music intro.
I took the feedback on it.
Once again, you're on What's Up, Family. Happy holidays to everyone. I hope everyone had a great holiday season or is having one as we're still in the midst. What's up, fellas? How was your Merry Christmas?
It was great. Good time with family. Just got back in town a few hours ago.
I just got back yesterday myself. Richard?
It was cool. It was quiet, no noise, no family, just me and the wife. So it was fun.
Cool. Well, this is our Wednesday wrap-up show. We're a little light tonight. I'm not certain where our other two members are, but hopefully they'll pop in eventually. But look, y'all, there's no particular format to this show. It's mostly about all of you in the chat. Speaking about the chat, we've got Wayne Ashford in the house. Thank you, sir. Bo Big HHB3 Black Panther #7 review. I have not read it yet. I know it sounds crazy, but a brother been busy.
That's a doggone shame. That's a doggone shame.
I work
Black Panther fans, boy, I tell y'all.
Boycott activity. Welcome. Tron World, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you for being here. So, what do you guys want to talk about? Richard, what have you read this week? You calling me out about not reading my Black Panther? I triple dog dare you to talk about something you read this week.
Black Panther #7.
You read Black Panther #7?
I did. Read that. I read Timeless with Luke Cage, Power Man.
Okay.
And the Immortal, the Immortal Moon Knight. Both were really good books. I read a few things. But as far as it's Wednesday, it's comic book day. So
right.
How are we gonna have a Wednesday show and we don't talk about what came out? It kind of defeats the purpose, I think. But I mean, it's some cool stuff that came out this week. Miles Morales, Spider-Man, issue number was that 14 came out. The Timeless book. There are several covers. You know, this is a nice little thick size book. Excuse the glare, but it has Luke Cage on it with the beard and, you know, looking all brolic.
Luke Cage has the powers of the Iron Fist in this. Is that the plot?
He has the powers of the Iron Fist. He also has the powers of Hulk. Yeah, he's got a he's got multiple upgrades, and he needs it too because he's fighting Khonshu. I don't know what's going on in the Marvel universe. For whatever reason, Khonshu is starting to become the baddie in Marvel. He's going to be the baddie in the Ultimate Black Panther book that's coming out next year, and he's the baddie in this book. So, for whatever reason, and you know, I know that they were toying with the immortal Moon Knight, but apparently, you know, he made his debut in this issue. So, you know, it was a great book. I enjoyed it. It's got a $6.99 price tag to it, but you know, we know about the black tax. Yeah, DC ain't the only one doing that. Shout out to Marvel. But that was good. The Black Panther book was very, very good. It's got a little bit of action in it. It's got a little bit of intrigue. T'Challa is he's learning more and more through some very, I would say, without giving it away, some mundane things. He's receiving wisdom from the most unlikely places, but it's helping him to understand where he is. He's still scratching his head about his place in burning T'Chaka. So Eve Ewing's doing a great job. It's a slow burn. Basis back in the book as well. So I think everybody's going to enjoy it. But yeah.
Yeah, one of the things Eve Ewing said in our interview with her is that oftentimes Black creators don't get the space to be creative and be weird and be funky, you know.
Yep.
They're given 5, maybe 6 issues in a limited series to tell an entire story. And sometimes if you're creative and you've got big ideas and epic ideas, Hickman level ideas, you don't have the time frame in which to build those stories. So I think she's relishing the luxury of having an open-ended book. She's going to have the book for as long as people keep buying it and keeping the numbers up. And then she'll be able to do as big a story as she like. I think that's kind of what suffered in the Photons run, is I think her story was bigger than the 5 issues that were allotted for her to frame that story. So it's nice to be able to have her have that luxury, and it's nice to have a rebuild of a man who's been a character who has been maligned over the previous run. So I'm happy with that.
Hey, big thanks to Tron World for the super chat.
That's
Hey,
thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Donation. It's a donation. I thought it was the trash. Don't be hitting on me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Appreciate that, man.
You know, it's some interesting things going on in Marvel. The Gang War crossover the sound is pretty good. People were kind of, you know, thumbing their nose up at it at first, but I think that it's got a lot of villains. Prowler is in this book. Hobgoblin is in this book. The Miles Morales issue number 14.
This is the Miles Morales book right here.
Yes. And so it's a lot of action in this particular book here. It's almost, I would say, was it non-stop Spider-Man, but this is the Miles Morales version of it.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. So
there's no lack of action in Cody Ziegler's run. And what's interesting, and I look at this one panel, and it speaks volumes about Cody Ziegler's run. You've got a character that he created, Rabble, a villain for Miles Morales. You've got Hightail, the speedster, who is, I don't know if I call her an anti-hero. She's not a villain per se, but she's not necessarily the most nicest of people. But she's definitely a foil for Miles. So Cody Ziegler is slowly but surely building Miles's rogues gallery. Even did some interesting things with Scorpion, which hasn't been a character that's been used all that much. And then having the relationship with Misty Knight as his mentor, having a black superhero senior mentor to a younger black superhero is just something we don't get a lot of in these mainstream comics. So I thought that was a really cool dynamic. Very, very cool dynamic.
Yeah. Starling is in the book. Starling is in the book as well. It's a pretty good book, man. I respect to respect to Cody Ziegler. Speaking of Cody Ziegler, man.
Hold on. Let me mention one thing that you just mentioned. Starling's in the book.
Hmm?
I fear for Starling's future. Why do I fear for Starling's future? Because it was released recently that up for pre-orders is a new book. This isn't the book. What's up for pre-orders is Spider-Gwen, like #1. Spider-Gwen is coming to the 616 universe as a permanent fixture of the 616 universe. As I have said many times before, Marvel Comics is no longer Marvel Comics. Marvel Comics is the MCU. Marvel Comics is the promotional material for the MCU. It is no longer simply the source material for the MCU. There's a synchronicity there. So if you do something in the movies, it will probably show up in the comics at some point. The Miles Morales movies is technically more Sony's property than it is the Marvel Studios property, but you can't deny the popularity of those Miles Morales movies by Sony. So it would make sense, good business sense, for Marvel Comics to try to embrace the crowds of people that may be trying to check out Miles Morales comic books because they like the movie so much, and put in elements that they saw in the movie. And that one of those elements is romance between him and Spider-Gwen. Starling's in the way of that. So I don't know. Don't know how this relationship's gonna work.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I don't think they'll mess with it. I think they may keep up the tension between the two of them, but I don't see them doing something like that, because again, Spider-Man fans, let me rephrase this. Peter Parker Spider-Man fans don't care nothing about Spider-Gwen. They don't. So for them, it's like, whatever, all they care about is what Peter got going on and who he's with this week or next week. But they can care less about Spider-Man. They're not the biggest Spider-Man Miles Morales fans, right. Which is interesting because, again, I get what you're saying. I think that's something that they could toy with, but why would you mess up something that is literally something that's been organic? That's the thing about. We're gonna talk later, guys. We keep this phrase in your head: Black real estate. We're gonna talk a little bit about that, but the Black real estate in this is keeping Starling and Miles Morales a couple. We're gonna talk about Black real estate a little bit later on, but to talk about this, whatever, I think that it makes for some cool covers. It adds to some conversation, but we always talk about Black superpower or super love, and if they do away with this, in my opinion, and I don't know who's from Marvel watch this, but I'm gonna say it here. If you mess this up, we're going to know that you have an agenda, and you are unashamed in letting everybody know that you have an agenda, because you literally have Peter Parker, a Mary Jane-esque type deal going on with Miles and Starling. You mess that up,
yeah,
you're really saying something, And while we got issues with the cat that Paul talked about earlier, T'Challa, I see no real purpose in them doing that. Man, they would really suck if they did that. Just to sell a couple of books. Leave well enough alone. It's a lot wrong with comics. Starling and Miles is not wrong with comics. Leave that alone. Leave them kids alone. That's what I would say.
Starling and Miles Morales, just so we're clear. And I'm trying to think of both Marvel and DC, but I think Starling and Miles Morales are the only Black super love comics couple in mainstream comics with in an ongoing series. Let me specify.
Yep.
I'm not talking about a limited series. I'm not talking about a one shot that came out a year ago. I'm talking about a comic that comes out every month with no end, an ongoing series. They're the only Black super couple out there in mainstream comics. That's it.
Now, what I will show concern, and this might ruffle a few feathers, is if they try to not necessarily break them up, but let's say make her a real superhero in terms of giving her her own identity, her own book someday. That would be cool.
That would be very cool.
I would like them to be tethered, if nothing else, because again, we wouldn't have her without Miles. But many shenanigans have gone on, and it's like, well, we want to give her her own identity and that kind of thing, and pull her out of the shadows and all that good stuff. And while I'm not hating on it, if Marvel wants to do that, I'm not tripping. But it's like, let Miles have his Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Let him have his Mary Jane, if that makes any sense.
Why not put a super team together of young superheroes? Bring back the Young Avengers in time for the MCU movie. Hint, hint. Marvel, steal my idea.
They're not going to
do champions. Bring the champions back and put them on the same team. If Jean Grey and Scott Summers can be on the same team, and Reed Richards and Sue Storm can be on the same team, why can't Starling and Miles be on the same team?
They could. I mean, again, it's a possibility. But again, this is Marvel. They like playing with their toys, and I don't know. I think that their relationship is young. It's young love or whatever, and I think that they will ride with it as long as they quote unquote can. Yeah. It's funny. You have almost a similar situation but they're not going to do it because I guess they don't want to do it. But you got a similar situation, not similar, but kind of in the same conversation with over at DC, or with, I should say, Milestone, with Static and Rocket.
Rocket don't like Static.
That's that part, and it's. But I kind of like that, because Static is that, and I'm old school Static. I know you guys want the millennial version of Virgil Hawkins, but he's this awkward, wisecracking kid who's got this crush on this beautiful woman. And I get it, what I'm saying? People be tripping about it, but I would like them to see or do something with that. Now, the thing is, they have not, in the comic book or in the 2.0 version, Raquel hasn't gotten pregnant yet. They have shown us scenes from like the future, the distant future, about her having a kid or whatever. But in this iteration of we haven't seen that yet. So maybe they're not. Maybe they're going to do it. Maybe they won't do it. I don't know.
In fact, when
Milestone
did that storyline where they talked about the merging of the old Milestone and the classic Milestone and the new Milestone, the two rockets met up with each other and had a discussion about that. And you got the impression that the new rocket was like, that's never going to happen.
I don't know. I mean, you know, saying when they made her a teenage mother, that was a problem for a lot of people. And you know, there were people that were dissing Milestone for that. You know, it was kind of like, but teenagers are becoming mothers every day. That's the reality of inner city life. Kids have sex. Sex leads to children, STDs and other stuff. But this is what goes on every day. So why are we acting like this don't happen? And so I salute Milestone for being bold in what they were doing, because you know they weren't afraid to like show you what's really happening. You know what I'm saying? It would be different if it was something, a fantasy or something, but no, this is life. And you know, it's just like to draw a hip hop analogy. When NWA came out, you know what I'm saying, and some of the things that they said. Now, did they, you know, glorify some gangster stuff? Absolutely, they did. But no one can really take away from what they were talking about, because that was happening in the streets of Los Angeles every day. Gang violence, drug dealing, and all that. That happened. So it's like, why are we trying to hide what's, you know, some people need to know and see what's going on in these pockets of daily life. So, you know, what we got? That's the pull list.
Here's the BCL pull list from League of Comic Geeks. Another book that came out this week, Amazon Attack. Have you been reading this series?
I am.
It is really redefining Amazons in the DC universe in a way that previously hasn't been done. That alone I thought was pretty interesting, because the Amazons have been on Themyscira. They've been on their little island. They've been isolated. They've been more isolated than Wakanda. And Nubia, with her ruling to allow Themyscirans to go out into the world and lead lives in the world, has ruffled a lot of feathers and upset the status quo, perhaps permanently, for Amazons in the DC universe. And it's an interesting take. And it really is a Nubia book. I mean, she is the leader of the book. But I found it interesting. What about?
I guess but you know, I have some issues with the writing on it myself. I am reading it, but I have issues with the writing, and and it's not to say that the person who's writing the book, because I can't even recall the name off the top of my head, but the way Nubia is being written in the book, in particularly, and I've said this on occasion, talking about this series, is, you know, she's always reminding people that she's the queen. And I stand on the sideline as one that if you have to constantly remind people who you are, then you're probably trying to convince yourself, and you're probably doubting that that's who you are. You don't have to throw around your title. You just have to be who you are in your action, let your actions speak. But, you know, stop giving her the language that, you know, every time she, you know, making a decision, or every time she's getting ready to do something, it's all based on her title. That's goofy. And it's not to say that it's not okay. It's okay. But if I can glaringly see that about this character, whatever, it makes me doubt the character.
Right.
So it's okay I think the larger story that they're trying to tell with Amazonians being in the public square, they're vilifying them because these are very strong, athletic women who have lived, apart from man and man's world for thousands of years. So to introduce them into the public square, it's like, okay, well, does this help or does this hurt? And while I think that it anytime you don't understand something, man's logic is to destroy it. If I don't understand what you are, I'm either going to fear you or I'm going to try to destroy you. And that's where we are with that particular book. But it's a good read. It's a good read. I just don't like the way they're writing her. I want her to just be strong and carry herself with the title that she has. She don't have to. If I got to keep telling you I'm the king, I'm the king, I'm the king, I'm probably not the king. So
yeah, I could see what you're saying on that. She seems very unsure of herself as well as leader.
Yes, absolutely. So
let's see. Shout out to Morgan Hampton and finishing his Cyborg run. Issue 6 came out. And what else was hot this week? We talked about Timeless. Oh, Titans Beast World.
What is going on with that Timeless #1 cover on the left?
It's stretched out. I don't know why it's stretched out like that.
Okay.
Oh, because this is the Alex Ross mega cover. Wrap
around cover.
Wraparound. Thank you. I was trying to think of the word. Wraparound cover.
Yeah.
Is this a black book, Rich? You read this? I mean, it's got the McDuffy rule on it. You got Falcon, you got Monica Rambeau, you got Black Panther, all on the same cover.
You know what's interesting? Vibranium Man has a picture in the book.
Really?
Yeah, Vibranium Man has a picture in the book, and I think Black Panther, of course, is in the book. But they're not. They're just like visions or images of visions or whatever that Luke Cage is thinking. Luke Cage is really the only character. Danny Rand is in the book, but it's really a book about Luke Cage. Luke Cage is kind of like the guy. If I had to draw an analogy of it, if you read the Future State Immortal Wonder Woman book, he kind of plays that character. He's kind of the guy at the end of all time, which is why it's called Timeless. And he's fighting off the last threat in the world, which is Khonshu. And it has that kind of vibe to it. It's a good book. But like I said, it's a $6.99 tag to it. So if you can get past the black text, you probably will enjoy it. Like I said, there are multiple different covers for it.
This 125 cover is sick.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody's gonna pay the bread for that. It's a good cover, no doubt. But yeah. So now, which is weird though. My LCS guy, he asked me, keep that up real quick. But my LCS guy asked me, did I want to put that on my pull list? And so I'm like, I don't even know if this is a continuous series or not. It reads like a one shot. But
yeah, the Timeless series they come out once a year, and they basically give you a foreshadowing of what to expect over the next year.
Yeah. Okay. The Tron World says here, it's called being set up to fail, Rich. Power black woman leading a superpower. It's hard to trust DC on this series. Well, Tron, I get what you're saying. But see, to me, they have positioned Nubia to be this quote unquote queen of Themyscira. I just need them to write her with confidence. Now, I don't think Stephanie Williams had a problem writing her with confidence. Now, some of the stuff that they put in there was a Justice League one shot that I thought was goofy, that I didn't too much care for. But for the most part, she's been that confident person. It's in this particular book that is like, and of course, this is not written by quote unquote a sister, so it is what it is. No disrespect to the author that's on the book. I'm just saying you got a glaring defect in your character writing in this particular book. It's just obvious to me. So I want them to get it right. And I want to, again, they're giving us these little 4 shots, one shot here, 1 shot there. I don't know what the plan is to do with Nubia long term. You're not going to replace Diana Prince. Let's just get that out the way. Wonder Woman is Wonder Woman. Nubia is Nubia. So if anybody has their high hopes for, quote unquote, Nubia to be Wonder Woman someday, kill that. You know what I'm saying? She's Diana's sister. Let's just leave it there. So, yeah. Now, Frustrated said there is a second issue to that book I pre-ordered. Okay. Well, that's what's up. I might go get it. It's a pretty good book. I can't front on it. It's a pretty good book. I like Luke Cage anyway. You know what I'm saying? Luke's got the power. He's got the power of Iron Fist. He's got the Hulk power. Yeah, he does damage in the book, no doubt. Sign me up for that.
Welcome,
Afro
SF.
What?
We've got our second person from UK here. So, hey, thanks for joining us. And good morning to you also.
Yeah.
Hey. What part of the UK are you from? Or are you coming from? NBA Live Girl says, oh, well, I got to check that out. The other thing that's been making some noise at DC is this Beast World series, which I don't know if the concept is basically, these spores transform people into beasts. I don't know. That I'm not interested in that part. That doesn't really grasp me all that much. However, the idea of this, more and more in DC Comics, you keep seeing this woman's face, Amanda Waller.
Yeah, they're setting
Amanda
her up.
Waller is becoming. They're setting her up as the big bad. I mean, she's being set up as the Kang of. I shouldn't say that too soon. She's being set up as the major big bad in the DC universe.
Well, she's one of 3. She's one of 3. But we've gotten the pre-orders, what do you call them? The previews, if I can say, for different books that's coming out in March. I want to say Green Arrow. She's in that book. She's in a Suicide Squad book. It's one other book that she's in, but they're making her a part of the new Trinity of Evil. So
and there's a new suicide. Yeah, you said there's a new Suicide Squad book coming out.
Look at this comment. What do you think about this comment?
She's like the father from the show Scandal. Yeah, well, she knows where all the bones are buried. That's for sure. Yeah, just like him. Shout out to everybody that enjoyed Scandal when it was out.
One of the things we've talked about on
What
this
up,
channel,
Blur, UK Blur is taking over BCF. That's what's up.
UK Blurds, the more the merrier. Invite all your friends and family, UK Blurds. We need you.
By the way, Paul, there was a sorry to change the subject, but we got an email, I think, about a comic, I think, artist who got an award in the UK, and we need to talk about that coming up soon. Remember that one?
Yeah, I do remember him. In fact, it was a rather big deal. The article talked about the fact that he won this major award.
Yeah, we need to
get him on here.
Focus on that. Yeah.
I wish I could remember his name.
I'll see if I can dig it up.
Eric the Guapo says Amanda Waller's a scary individual in DC, ruthless and cold. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. One of the things we talk about on this channel all the time are the concept of Black A-list superheroes or characters in mainstream comics. And Amanda Waller's at the top of DC's list. When you talk about a character that has been in movies and television shows and cartoons, and they've got toys and merch with them, the only thing she may be lacking somewhat is sort of name recognition in the mainstream universe. But I think that's slowly changing with all the movies they're making, the cartoons and what have you. Snyderverse, even with this, what was the name of that television show that came out with John Cena, Peacemaker. I think she's getting a lot more familiar with the mainstream audiences. She's an A-list character, in my opinion, in DC Comics, and she doesn't get enough recognition for that. Her first appearance is in Legends #1 is ridiculously undervalued as a comic book. If you don't have that, you should definitely add that to your collection. Her first appearance in comics, it's very, very cheap to get. You could even get it at 9.8, relatively cheap.
Well, it's I mean, Storm is the only first appearance Black woman who mainstream non-Black people like, if I can say it like that.
Yeah.
That's just the truth of the matter. Amanda Wall's been around since what, 85? So, she's been in several books. Suicide Squad is a comic book, is a cult book. I mean, people that like Suicide Squad, John Ostrander, I'm gonna want to butcher his name, who first wrote on her in the Suicide Squad run. That's a pretty good run. And again, she was drawn as a full-figured Black woman with a short afro. So she's not appealing to the quote-unquote eye. But we all know an Amanda Waller in the neighborhood. We all know this woman. She's a teacher. She's, we pass her in the grocery store every day, and, part of her appeal, is the fact that she is ruthless and cold, to be, not an object of desire, but to be loathed. It makes her a good villain, in my opinion. It's like, yeah, you need to fear Amanda Waller. If she was attractive, half the people that she would be trying to control be trying to sleep with her. But you don't have that. You don't have that dynamic when it comes to her. You're literally talking about someone who knows where all the bones are buried, who knows who Batman is. Yeah. If you're not up on Amanda Waller comics, I suggest that you do, because she goes deep when it comes to the DC Universe stuff. She's being pushed to the forefront as a part of the new Trinity of Evil. I think Brainiac is one of the other villains that they're going to use, and the Batman Irvin Zur, whatever it's called. I think Grant Morrison created him, if I'm not mistaken. But it's like 3 of them, whatever. But she's definitely a part of the new villain going forward, which is good, because you know what? I like the old DC villains. When we're talking about Sinestro, we're talking about Joker, we're talking about the Penguin, we're talking about all these other characters, But yeah, they could definitely do some good stuff with Amanda Waller, man. So,
Rich, what do you think about this comment?
I'm not sure I like what they're doing to Amanda. She is not evil. She's a patriot and a pain in the ass. Like, well, I would say this, that you use the right word, patriot. So when a person's a patriot or whatever, you're going to be vilified. You're going to be demonized. I mean, the forefathers of this country. Look no further. So, and when you all the bones are buried and all the secrets, naturally. So, again, everything is relative in terms of the story that they're trying to tell. And it's going to be based on the story that they're trying to tell. I'm not a fan of sympathy of the devil. I'm not a fan of that. I understand it, but I'm not a fan of it. And so I don't want my villains to be too relatable. We talk all the time. No, for real. We talk all the time about Killmonger and Marvel's attempt to make him, relative. And Killmonger was right. No, Killmonger was a gangster that deserved them claws in his chest. We not gonna play this game. You know what I'm saying? Killmonger was right. Okay, Gravik was right. They all hit a point. We know this, but we got to remember that these are the bad guys. But anyway, suffice to say that I think that anytime you get a chance to read Amanda Waller, do yourself a service and go back and get those back issues.
Charles Stewart III says Waller, from a TV standpoint, started catching fire. First back during the Justice League cartoon, top tier villainy. Yeah, she was great in the Justice League cartoon. My God, shout out to Dwayne McDuffy. That Justice League cartoon was awesome, man. That was some fine television. I just started rewatching those episodes this year. That really was good television.
Yeah. Amanda Waller has something on everyone in DC. That's why she's scary. Yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing. That's the thing. She has zero powers. It's not like she has skill sets where she's a ninja or anything like that. Her superpower is her brain.
Yeah. Her ability to move chess pieces.
Yes.
Go back and read, for those of you that need a late pass, go back and read the Waller versus Milestone book.
Oh my God.
Please go back and read that. Because in that particular book, you see her moving some stuff around.
Eric Narcisse and Eric Battle.
Yeah, and what's so funny is they really finesse her in this. They play her like a B-side in the book, without me giving it away. At the end of it, they play her like a B-side because her goal was to be a part of Checkmate, and so they're like, "Oh no, you're not Checkmate material, but we're gonna put you over here." And they don't even realize that they did her a favor. so yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's espionage and all that. You get all of that with Amanda Waller. So yeah, she's a dope character. Did Amanda Waller ever get involved with the Green Arrow comics? She
is in the current one.
Yeah, she definitely will be in the current one. Matter of fact, she's going to be doing major damage in Green Arrow #9. That's the book that everybody's talking about. That's going to come out next year with her in it. And like I say, she's going to be instrumental in killing all of the super powered beings. That is her job. So yeah, there will be blood. Frustrated said, yes, they're trying to humanize the rogues. Yeah, I like rogues to be rogues. Speaking of rogues, if you want to read a good villain story, DC Black Label did a book called The Rogues about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. It's like 4 issues. It has Captain Cole in it, Bronze Tiger is in it, Gorilla Grodd in it. I recommend it 100%. It is pretty cool. And it's about
you said that before. I got to check that series out.
Man, please go. I promise you will not be disappointed. If you like villains and say, villains drive story. Shout out to my man Otis. I remember when he first told me that. It resonated with me because I've been reading comics for years, and that part had never hit me before. And that's the truth about whether we're talking about Batman, whether we're talking about the Flash, or whomever it is. Villains tend to drive story, and we're getting some villains that are kind of rising up in the ranks. We're talking about DC. Evan with Milestone has the potential,
yes,
to be a real nasty villain. And we need someone sinister on that level. As far as Black comic book fandom, Black Manta is there, and he is as heartless as they come. But with Amanda Waller, bruh, could you imagine a legion of Black villains, Black super Legion of Doom, Black super villains?
you have it low key on a petty scale with this Spider-Man gang war thing going on in Marvel right now, because you got a bunch of Black villains in those stories. But it'd be cool to have like major Black villains team up.
Eric
All
says,
being
I
led
agree,
by
let the
Starling.
bad be bad. So I always like Darkseid. It's hard to make him. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? See, look, I like Darkseid. Darkseid is like, you ain't get the job done. I'm just going to fry you. Get out the way. Next man up. That's how a villain's supposed to be. Yeah. So Charles Stewart III says, man, Killmonger somewhere buried in a block of vibranium like Han Solo underneath Wakanda waiting to be resurrected by the MCU for a rainy day. If RDJ come back for Secret Wars, so it is Michael.
Man,
Michael
RDJ
B.
ain't coming back. Look, first of all, Disney don't have that type of money anymore. They losing so much money they can't afford RDJ. RDJ is like, I need no less than 22 million a movie plus
They can't even get him in What If.
Yeah, man. They couldn't exactly. They couldn't even get the dude for a What If episode. Can we talk about What If, by the way?
Well,
Rich.
I mean, it's cool. We can talk about it. I mean, I've only seen the first episode. I hadn't really watched.
Oh.
I started watching. They've been releasing episodes every day, so I need to catch up. So, you know, I mean, What If is cool, and I keep saying this to y'all, but keep saying it. Let's a moment of silence for the MCU because it's dead. They can put out a episode every day. It's still dead on arrival. But I'm just being facetious when I say that.
No. Predictable.
What If is good.
It's all in the atmosphere right now.
Rich is on a rampage.
Let me. Pericles says, I think there's room for humanized villains and villains who are evil for the sake of being evil. I will say this. You know, when I go to a movie theater, I want the black hat and I want the white hat. I don't want gray hats.
I love that.
No.
That's what life is, Rich. That's
white.
what reality is. It's in the gray.
I need black and white. I don't need. Listen, nuance has its place in real life, but in the comic book, no. I need villains and I need heroes.
Life ain't that simple, man.
You know, it's kind of like Punisher. Punisher is not a hero. Punisher is about a sneeze away from being a villain. So, but he got this anti-hero thing down to, and it works for him. It works for him. It's like, okay, if I was, you know, it's like, have you ever like seen somebody, Paul, and you just want to pull out a big old gun and just spray them in the face? Now you're doing this in your mind, but you would not dare really do it. That's what you get with anti-heroes.
As counsel to the Black comic lords, I can neither confirm nor deny any such iterations or imitate, thoughts going through my particular mind. And I think this requires a disclaimer, Mr. Producer.
Oh, sure. Sorry, I'm behind. I do too many things.
You're gonna let the man talk about murdering people in their faces, and you're not going to put a disclaimer.
I just said it's a thought. We're talking about nuance. We're talking about villains. Let me anti-hero.
All right, here we go. Okay, I think we're safer now than we were before.
I'm about to start collecting checks on y'all, man. All this illegal advice.
You guys killing me. So back to the MCU stuff. All right.
I like what if. Look, I like the what if stories.
Okay. Did you see the episode that came out this morning, basically?
No. I've only seen the first episode.
I was very interested in getting the take of somebody on how they felt. I personally liked it. It was very different, I think, from the previous stories. And just looking at the ratings on IMDb, so far, this episode is the highest rated episode of all of them. So I'm just interested in if anybody in the chat has seen it, what you think about it without spoiling too much.
You know, one of the things that often pops up in these spaces is the fact that DC animated movies and television shows have been so superior to anything Marvel's ever done. But I would be remiss if I did not give What If its credit and due. These What If, from the animation style to the stories to the fact that they actually get the majority of the actors from the MCU to recreate their voices in the animated form, has been great. You know, we talk. I'm at the point where I'm watching some of these What If episodes. I'm like, you know, Marvel, you could save some money and just do animated movies.
There you go. I was thinking the same thing.
Just do animated movies. You can use these same actors' voices, and if the actor doesn't want to do it because they're asking for too much money, like RDJ, guess what? There's a bunch of actors out there that can do RDJ just as well as RDJ. You know, as evidenced in this What If episode. Marvel needs to shy away from doing these live action features and start doing these animated features. These were damn good. Damn good. You don't have to worry about, you know, well, we can't do this particular scene because it's not in our budget. The directors can go wild with animated films. You can do whatever your mind can think of. There is no budget. There's no shackles on the scope of the vision that you can have as a creator when you're doing animated features. It's perfect.
But the problem with that, Paul, is it's like NFL owners and stadiums.
Yeah,
we gotta pack the stadium. The stadiums for Marvel and DC is the movie theater.
Right.
You could do a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? To your point, if you do it this way, but they're thinking about the long ball. Now, the irony of that is that the economy is such in the toilet. I'm looking at you, Joe Biden. I'm gonna need you to really do something, because 2024 you're gonna be just like your boy. You're gonna be a one hitter quitter. You're gonna be out the door, dude. You got to do something. But anyway, the thing is, the $1 billion movie is over. The only thing that we've gotten, let's see, what was it? Barbie was the only thing. And to me, Barbie was an aberration only because Barbie's been around for how long? 50 years. So you got 50 years of fandom built up or whatever to make this one movie, right? And everybody, every little girl that has had a Barbie wanted to see this movie. So you don't have that kind of budget or that kind of stock. I know we were talking about black real estate, Paul. Maybe we can go to commercial after this. Anyway, we'll come back and talk about it. But what incentive does Marvel have to do that, bro? What incentive did it? I agree. They should do more animation.
It's cheaper. They can do better stories than what they've been doing, and it's cheaper. And it's just good.
I agree. But when you're playing with Mickey Mouse money, you're not thinking about that.
And here's the other thing. You ask, what's the incentive about making money? You can't get butts into movie theaters anymore, right? We all have 4K televisions now. We have surround sound systems now. I don't need to go. I have a microwave that can make me my popcorn. I don't need to go to the theater to go see it. If you want to wait for it to get released on a streaming service,
bro, I'm gonna tell you something. No.
You can do that.
Microwave popcorn. Listen, microwave popcorn and movie popcorn. That's two different things.
Make real popcorn. You can make real popcorn in your house.
Give me real popcorn.
I have a popcorn maker at home.
Give me
make popcorn.
Listen,
real popcorn.
I like Orville Redenbacher just like everybody else. It did not compare to that popcorn.
The point I'm trying to make.
I get it.
Is that you can't get people in theaters anymore because they got home systems that give them enough for not as much of the price, right? With the television animated series, you can stream it on your Disney Plus, which some people are going to balk at because they don't want to pay $12 a month for that. But then, hey, Disney, you own Hulu. You can do it there where you have television commercials. You can make money off the commercials. You can.
Speaking of which, I did pick up the Disney bundle. I picked up Disney again, guys.
I was waiting to see how much longer you're gonna hold out.
Well, here's the thing, though. I had to be cheap about it, so I was able to get Disney and Hulu for $9.99
while he's giving Disney his money.
With ads. If I would have got without no ads, it'd have been $19.99. But I have to watch a commercial every now and then when it get good.
So they forced you. They forced you to have to buy their product. Is that what you're saying?
It's like watching Tubi. You ever watch a movie on Tubi and they get good and then just cut off and it goes straight. Like, really? Yeah, man.
At this point here, by sad villainy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
that's
if,
a good point.
Yeah,
that's a very good point.
Potentially they limit themselves by using MC characters and prophets. What if they introduce Fantastic Four, Ghost Rider, Luke Cage? I mean, look, the sky's the limit.
Villainy, you need to have a conversation with Kevin Feige and explain that very concept.
Limit. Look, somebody asked the question, or do we want the reboot? Listen, I'm on record as saying, take that old dog behind the shed, pop it. Start over. I don't want a soft reboot. And I know everybody, well, Secret Wars is the reboot. Whatever. Secret Wars is due to come out in 2027. It is 2023. It'll be 2024 in a couple of days. So that's still like 3.5 years away.
Come out right after Avengers 5, the Kang Wars. Right?
You know what?
Oh, that's not. Is that?
I heard. You know, Marvel is hiring guys, y'all. Let this be a lesson. Let this be a lesson. Don't y'all be out here acting like it's all peaches and cream and do something crazy. Yeah, man.
If you want your woman to be Coretta Scott King and Betty Shabazz,
I'm just saying.
Make sure she might actually fit the bill. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm saying.
Listen. Now, the crazy part. I'm about to be sad. I'm about to be a savage.
Wait,
now I saw my man's in Creed 3, and he was throwing haymakers in Creed 3. But I saw that Bama running from that woman.
That's
like,
when look. At some point, you got to realize you're going to catch a case if you get into certain situations, because the black man, you don't have the luxury.
Caught a case, Paul. He caught a hella case.
Yeah, but he
lost a bag. He did get making good. That's a good consolation prize. I'm just saying.
That's a good consolation. He'll.
You say too early. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Listen,
is it too soon to talk about this?
Jonathan Majors is a cautionary tale, guys.
Oh my God,
he is. Let's just keep it a stack. I knew that Negro was in trouble when he showed up on that Ebony magazine and all that pink. Y'all gonna stop. Weird. Y'all gonna stop playing with people, and it was cool. You know, I like the guy. I really, really do. I think he did an amazing job as Kent.
I'm a fan of the work.
Yeah, he's an amazing actor. I love that Harder They Fall on Netflix. That Western. That's amazing. That's amazing. But bruh, that ain't the same dude that was running. Did you see, bruh? He was running for his life.
Wait, hold on. Why is Derek cracking up?
Frustrated comment.
What is that? He's like, I think he couldn't think of. He couldn't think of any other one, which is why he said those names. Hey, bro.
Damn.
I'm just saying, y'all listen. Don't be out here. Listen. Date who you want to date. Do your thing, but just understand and know that there are consequences.
Consequences and repercussions.
Repercussions. This. I mean, again. I hope that the brother falls on his feet, lands on his feet. But I mean, man, Marvel literally, they found that dude guilty. The gavel hit the ground and call his agent.
They had that press release done and ready.
They did not hesitate. They just literally, I mean, the same day.
It's kind of like at the Super Bowl where the Super Bowl has prepared two different hats to give the winning team. Depending on who wins, they got the hat already ready.
And all them t-shirts.
Marvel had bets. They had their press release. If he was exonerated, I'm curious as to what the press release for him getting exonerated and found not guilty. That would have been like, Marvel had complete faith in our star, Jonathan Majors. We knew he was not guilty. We are excited to proceed with these next films with him and honored to have such a stellar star. That press release was done too, just in case.
Of course. Can you imagine the guy? This is Tron World says, it's super chat.
Hey, Tron World. That's Disney with the cancel culture. Tom DeFalco gave me my first pro opportunity with Marvel in '89. No, I had an open case. Yeah, that's not going to happen anymore in this day and era.
Yeah. He's seriously black. You're right. You out here in these streets, back. We can't put that comment. Don't put that comment up there.
Yeah, don't put it on there.
So he says, listen, Disney is Disney. They are who they are. I told you there's no bigger gangster in the world than Disney. Mickey Mouse has got the strongest pimp hand there is. And these properties that they have taken, man, Marvel and Star Wars, they have jacked it up. Now, here's funny. Did you guys see the trailer to the Acolyte? Did you guys see the first trailer to Acolyte?
The trailer came out?
Yeah, the trailer's out.
No.
Oh, snap. Can we play it, Derek?
No. You talk about all I love money be gone.
Derek, we can play it and not play the audio. If we don't play the audio, we don't.
It all depends. It all depends.
What fun is that? What fun is that, Paul? That's like going to a strip club and watching the DJ.
I would not know what that is like. I would not know what
that is. So that trailer is fake. Oh, okay. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it didn't come out. I saw a trailer though.
Oh, damn! Got me excited for a second there.
I hate the internet. The internet is stupid, man.
Well, we do have something that we can watch, Derek. Why don't we go to a commercial and we can chat about?
All right, here we go. We'll go to a quick commercial. Oops, that'll be the wrong one. Try again.
Where's our black real estate in comics? What do I mean? Let's check out Black Panther. He is gone from the MCU for reasons. And what is happening in the comics? We can complain all day about how our champion is being treated, but we don't own that character. Look at Milestone character, curated by one of the greats, Dwayne McDuffy, my guy. But we don't really own or control any of his characters. DC does. So I'll ask again, where is our black real estate in comics? Meet Delta Dogs from Millennial Comics, created and controlled by us, where story sits in the forefront. Delta Dogs is more than just black characters being black for the sake of being black. This story is about 7 cousins that gets into an encounter with a mysterious glowing stranger that changes their lives forever. And with their unique abilities, this family may be the one thing that can save their hood that's being ruled over by a vicious super gang. With an ex-criminal as their leader and other superheroes that looks the other way when it comes to their environment, this will be an impossible mission to pull off. Grab these books in our hardcover Ultimate Edition bundle at millennialcomic.com so we can really have some skin in the game when it comes to the comic book industry. Keep doing y'all thing, Black Comic Lords. Peace.
That was dope. Shout out to Varnell.
Shout out to Varnell Young, Delta Dogs, Millennial Comics in the building for sure.
Absolutely.
Y'all go get that book. Go get that book, man, for real. Because again, what's blacker than 7 cousins going to a family reunion and getting superpowers on the way there? better than mama's sweet potato pie. Yeah. So yeah, man. So he used the phrase. Go ahead, Paul.
I was going to say that you pointed out the concept of what we're going to talk about of having black real estate. You know, man, I tell you, the more and more, I got too many comic books. Been collecting for most of my life, and yeah, I'm looking around my room here at these boxes upon boxes upon boxes upon boxes of comics.
Yo.
And I'm thinking to myself, what's it all for? Why am I? And the majority of these comics are Marvel and DC comics. A lot of them are from years gone by, when I was a younger person and comics were even more exciting than they are today. But I still collect them, almost out of habit. And the thrill that I had as a kid reading comics, you just don't get as much of that anymore in as many comics these days. There are some exceptions to the rule, obviously. But, you know, by and large, a lot of what is released in comics now is less about just putting out good stories that will capture the mind and make you excited, and more about finding the angles to make you buy more books because you're stuck in this paradigm, this system.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So Vonell makes a good point about, you know, the things that we complain about, where we have, why don't I see more people like me in these type of situations? It's not even about, are there black faces on the page? There's going to be lots of black faces on the page nowadays. That's the point. It's not about having black colored people in your books. It's about having our stories in the books. That's a big difference. Anyone can color someone with brown number 5 and stick them in a comic book. But what are you doing to give those characters agency? What are you doing to make those characters realistic? What are you doing to expound upon the universe where black people have a realistic, organic position within there, where they're actually influencing the outcome of the storyline because they're central figures to the storyline? What are you doing to make those characters come alive by making them realistic, making them like people that we actually know? And the answer, you know, it's more and more is seeming like maybe there is something to this black indie thing, right? When I'm going through these books and I'm reading, you know, Keisha, Demon Eater, right? Artwork's fantastic, written by Newton LaVoie. Great book. I'm looking at Little Rock Files, Greg Berman.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When I'm looking at, my God, you talking fantasy, Stranger Comics. Shout out to Sebastian Jones. Midnight Comics. Your boy Eric July. Isom Comics. Midnight Comics again. My God, even the He Who Shall Not Be Named.
Oh, wow. He bought the book.
Can't believe I actually bought the book. He had my boy Edwin. I think this is Edwin Gallman that did the cover, so I had to support Edwin Gallman. That's my rationalization.
Whatever gets you through, bro.
And then you got our boy Rodney Barnes killing it every month. Why am I still buying this other crap?
Well, I will say that, truth be told, and I've said this on occasion, that the fandom that we enjoy initially isn't ours. We are people who have. if I could go ocean floor deep, our appetite for these books were baked into our existence in America.
Right.
Let me. When we was in school, Paul, we learned nursery rhymes. Old Mother Hubbard. There was an old lady that lived in the shoe, had so many children she didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
All of these little folk tales and little stories that nursery rhymes we learned. None of them looked like us. So our appetite for stories and for things established early, we were learning how to read and we were learning how to comprehend. And so when we got our hands on comic books, we got our hands on these picture books with these heroes doing whatever, we naturally gravitated to it because, one, it was something that we didn't have to read, because if we were made to read things, we could, but this is what I choose to read. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I have an affinity for all of these Marvel characters. I have an affinity for all these DC characters because my choices were kind of made for me back then. The difference now is that as time went on, we found out that there were black hands in some of these properties, in some of these books. Goes back to our conversations with Ken Quattro, talking about the Invisible Men, talking about these black artists from the 1940s who largely are still undiscovered. But a guy like Ken Quattro makes it his business to uncover the history. And so from the very beginning, we've been there. We just didn't know we were there. And so now we're in this place where, you know what? I have a story I want to tell. I have a viewpoint I want to share. So when it comes to like black real estate, it begins with first centering yourself in the conversation. Because here's the thing about black people. We are a people by and large who share stories. That's why we love storytelling. We've always, that's who we are. But we didn't lose that on the slave ship. We brought that with us over here. Our ability to tell a story, our ability to share things of that nature. Now, you always have this thing with Paul where, you know, you want a Nazi to be a major figure because he's one of the Orishas, and he's for the most part, out of all the Orishas or whatever, he's the most popular one, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense for that mythology to be there. But who's going to take that responsibility, or who's going to do that? It's like we don't have to do that. We can tell stories. Whether we're talking about the guys that did all Negro comics, you know, we could tell detective stories. We could tell thousands of different stories. The Black experience is not one experience. It's a plethora of experiences.
Right.
So we have to have a desire. It begins with our appetite. Our appetite has to be wet. So you can't get a desire for something that you've never had until you've tasted it, if that makes any sense.
All these books I just went over, they're all different. When you say I can't find anything to read, you've got genres of horror. You've got genre of sci-fi. You've got genre of science fiction, classic superhero comics, right? You've got fantasy involving African culture. You've got crime noir, right? And you got, my God, this is so ridiculously good. I can't even classify it as a single thing, but you've got horror mixed with kung fu, mixed with, noir type stuff all in the book. There's a little bit of everything that's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the point. But we have to have an appetite for it. I mean, we talk about Infinitum, for example.
We hear enough bitching in our channel to know there's an appetite. It's the desire to actually follow through and break yourself out of the paradigm.
Absolutely. Well, see, I don't think we have that we don't have that problem here, but for maybe the comic heads out there that don't know, it's kind of like, Neo waking people up, from the system. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we know that these books are here. We know that they're properties like, Second Sight. We know that they're properties like Advent. We know that they're properties like Godhood. We know that they're properties like Concrete. We know these are bywords for us now, but at one time they weren't. And so the other part of that equation is we got to learn and unlearn. I think that for us to really appreciate the efforts of a Varnell Young and Millennium Comics. Let me just say this about my man Varnell. Delta Dogs is 20 plus issues. This is not a guy who's got like one comic book, two comic books you can buy. He's done 20 issues. He is black real estate. We talk about in being able to invest in somebody or in someone's IP or in someone's storytelling. He's a perfect example. He's consistent. He's devoted himself to this property. We see new black cats on the block all day. We go to their website. We see a couple of pictures. We see a digital version. We see one version, $10. I want more. I can't get more. But with Varnell's stuff, you literally has volumes of books that you can buy. So it's also feeding that monster that we have. Because that's the other part too, Paul. Once we've developed an appetite for this, our ability to get more, our ability to grab more, that kind of thing. That's why the situation with Eric July and Isom is interesting. Eric July decided not to print a floppy. He decided to print graphic novels. His books are over 100 pages. That means you're literally getting a volume of comic books, 4, 5, 6 issues in one offering. So people can complain about the price tag, but when you go to the shop 6 months to buy a 6 volume or a 1 volume of comic books, you're paying the same money, if not cheaper. So you're getting what you pay for. But again, it's one of those things. So will we make the investment? Will we make the investment?
There's another thing about this notion of real estate, black real estate.
Yes, sir.
These DC and Marvel stories that we're reading, even if they're written by a black writer, that black writer truly doesn't have creative control, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're renting that character. They're they can only do certain things with that house, with that real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, it's somebody else's decision what's going to happen to these characters, how long they stick around. But by the way, DC and Marvel, they are corporations. So first and foremost, they're out for ROI, return on investment, and it's not about the art. It's not about it's telling a story, but telling a story to make money, and not that our independent black creators don't want to make money. But I think they're focused on the story. They have a story to tell, and they have their own real estate. They have their creative control. And I think that's something that's very important to consider. So they're not renting. They've got that creative control. They're telling their stories, and they want us to read those stories, and they want those stories to be heard. So it's an important thing to think about.
I think also too, Derek, I think one of the key components to that is to recognize that, one, you're not going to miss anything. I think that's the other part too. That FOMO thing, when we talk about spec, is a real thing, but I also believe that it's a real thing when it comes to us as comic heads who are addicted to going to the shop every 30 days or every week or whatever to pick up the next book or whatever. And like Black Panther, for example, shout out to all you Black Panther fans. I feel your pain because your character is that's your guy. You love that guy, but that guy belongs to the property of Marvel and Disney. And if they decide to do something jacked up with that character, no matter how much you wail and scream, pray to Boss and whomever else, at the end of the day, that's Marvel's call. Whereas when it comes to a Black independent superhero, you're more invested because you literally got skin in the game. Now, independents are not perfect either. But as comic heads, we have to decide, do we really want original characters? Because if we do, we have to make that investment. It's a conscious decision. We have to decide, we have to say, you know what? I have to be intentional. I have to be intentional when I support. I have to be intentional with what I read. I have to be intentional with how I interpret, because the guys at Marvel and DC are going to do what they're going to do. They're going to put out cool covers. They're going to put out cool books. And it's going to be like, man, I got to grab that. I got to get that. I got to get that. I got to get that. But if we're doing all this talking about Marvel and DC and we're not giving the guys who are trying to get to that level a shot, a real legitimate shot, that's kind of, defeats the purpose. I saw a post today with somebody where I think it might have been Kevin Greavy, put up a post about Falcon and Captain America.
Yeah.
And our whole thing is, well, Falcon was just a sidekick. He was this, he's that, or whatever. Then when they made him Captain America, well, why we can't have original characters? Nothing wrong when he was Falcon. It's like we can't satisfy the beast. It's like, what do we really want him to be? Now, I've never been one to just downplay him when he was Falcon. I never looked at him as a sidekick. I really enjoyed that character as he was, because he was his own character. But he put that red, white, and blue on. Now he's got the weight of the nation on his shoulders, literally, and the history that comes with that with them stars and stripes. And I love what Malcolm Spellman. I know some people had a problem with the Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I like that one part where he had Isaiah Bradley said, "Ain't no self-respecting black man going to be Captain America." Because as much as we enjoy our jobs and much as we enjoy infrastructure and as much as we enjoy our lives and going to the movie theaters and this thing we call freedom, the sausage was slavery. The process of making all of this beautiful stuff, this wonderful nation that we all enjoy, was through the process of slavery and then the annihilation of Native Americans. That's the history of America. So when we look at the Stars and Stripes and we get dewy-eyed, God bless America and all that stuff, do you really think we can bypass the sausage, the process of making the sausage?
Yeah. It's not just
that's what they want us to do, though. That's what they want us to do, though.
Yeah.
They want us to forget about that. First thing they said, well, my dad, I didn't know, I ain't never owned no slave. No, but your great grandfather did. No, you didn't own a slave, but you benefit. Bank of America. Shout out to y'all that do y'all really want to do the history on this man? Y'all want to do the science? These companies are still here. Slave trade used to be on the stock exchange. It's America. And y'all put a black man in the red, white, and blue. How that work? Is he Christmas addicts? Because he the first one that got shot during the Revolutionary War. The black man, first one to die for the country. But y'all want Sam Wilson, Captain America. Y'all keep buying them books. Cause while y'all see him being heroic, I see a walking contradiction. It's a walking contradiction. And I know that our fathers fought in the military and our fathers fought for this country, but how are you going to fight for a country, right? Go way over to Korea, way over to Vietnam, way over to Europe and fight for a country and come back and you can't even ride in the front of the bus. You can't get a job.
Dirty past, but it has more than just the dirt too.
Oh yeah, got a lot of blood in the dirt. Got a lot of blood in the dirt. Listen, they said back in the day, Paul. They said segregation yesterday and today. I'm saying reparations yesterday and today. Cut the check. But anyway, listen, don't take this personal, guys. Rich just being rich. But getting back to this real estate thing, Paul, I mean...
Vonell opined on your discussion.
So this man needs a movie. This is what should have been said at the end of the Falcon Winter Soldier. Huh? Yeah, well, listen, I love Sam Wilson. I really do. I like him as Falcon. I see the contradiction and I see the duality that exists. As black men, we understand that duality. We work in corporate America. We know what the code is, the switch. We know all of this stuff. However, it's getting people to recognize that struggle and for that struggle to be valid. And that's why when we have guys that want to tell these kind of stories, some people say we shouldn't tell these stories. We don't need another slavery story. We don't have enough. Because half the story ain't been told. People don't realize that the transatlantic slave trade was 2.5 centuries. Not 25 years, Paul. Not 50 years, Paul. Not a generation, Paul. 250 years. That was the commerce of America. Let me get real deep for y'all. When you go back to Ghana and you go to those castles where they held the slaves, right? They were in perpetual darkness and they would be there for months at a time. A little small room might have up to 200 people in it. Think they had a toilet?
They say that when you visit that last port, that last step before they sent the slaves on, the enslaved peoples onto the ships, that when African Americans go there, something stirs within them genetically. Like there's a racial memory that you can feel from the horrors and ghosts that are in those places. I've seen videos where people just literally just break out crying and just shaking because they can feel their ancestors' pain in those places.
Yeah, there's a connection that is in that place because it's a place of trauma and torment. here's the thing. It's not something. It would, if it has to be true. Otherwise, you couldn't make this up. That this is what happened to these people. And the reason why I bring this up is because the genesis of our story in America, if we're going to be honest, has to start there. Because you can go past that. Yes, you can go past that. But it's literally like, you know how we read comics, right, Paul and Derek? And they sometimes have time jumps. They want us to time jump past. Jump past that. Well, where do we land? Do we land in Reformation? Do we land in after slavery, Reconstruction? Do we land hundreds of years of lynchings? Do we land in the crack era? Do we land? Where do we land? Do we land with Obama? Where do we land? Where can we tell the story? Because again, all of our stories, they're the references of the Black experiences. They're not all the same, but they do have a common thread. And that thread is pain.
Yeah.
Like it or not, ladies and gentlemen, that's the thread. You can get away from the thread. You could tell a funny story. Most comedians that are good, like Dave Chappelle and Kevin Hart, they tell their stories through a lens of pain. It's funny, but when you strip away, because I remember the first time I heard Kevin Hart talk about his father, his drug addicted father. Funny story. But at the end of the day, he was talking about his dad and having a crack addiction. Strip away all of this stuff. And so it's like our people got to be comfortable enough to tell the story. And so with the stories that we do tell, we can be heroic. We can, we talk about this Black real estate. Did HBO really have to tell a story about Tulsa?
Did they have to? No.
Did they have to tell it? Is it HBO's responsibility to tell that story, or is it ours? Because that's the other part about Black real estate. We got to claim what's ours. We got to claim it. We can't run from it. We can't shun it. We have to claim it. It happened. It's not like we making this up. And so when we tell stories, Dwayne McDuffy, the guys at Milestone, the stories that they told through Icon and Rocket and Hardware, all of that was based on pain. The struggle of being in the inner city. Superman, Black Lightning. And when John Ridley, your boy, told a story about Black Lightning and Superman not coming to the hood, he had a problem with that. I'm like, well, Jefferson Pierce, you were there. I don't need Superman to come. I don't need Superman to come save.
You mentioned Superman, right? Created by two Jewish men in New York. And for them, it was about relating to a concept of being an immigrant in the country and being the odd one out, not fitting in. But then the fantasy of, with your own unique cultural identity, you find power in light of the other existence that you're living in, right? That's what Superman is all about. You have this alien from another world that comes to the United States and is different and has from a different culture, but because that person's different, they actually gain strength. They actually are super as a result of being different, being from somewhere else. That's what the two young Jewish boys did when they created Superman. And another thing you said that, Richard, was kind of profound. You talk about our culture coming from Western Africa, where the oral tradition was such an integral part of our culture, an integral part of our history. It was part of how we communicated with each other, was storytelling. stories are tremendously important. That's why, as you said, you know, the god Anansi always fascinates me, because that's what that whole thing is, right? And he's the trickster, but he's also the storyteller.
Mhm.
And those stories help change reality. You know, Evan Narcisse wrote this one-shot Milestone book on Anansi, and he talked and through that paradigm, he talked about Anansi's power and being able to bend and shape reality, because stories can do that. And I thought that was kind of a dope concept. And you know, it really hits hard for us as Black collectors. And we read these comics, we read these stories, and we're not in them. We're not, the real version of us is not in them. The what makes us special, our Superman isn't, you know, that paradigm doesn't exist for us. Whereas being Black, having that experience of that trauma and the pain of being a African American give us that power to be better.
You know, it's interesting. People talk about, you know, Superman, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, Superman is really, I know they try to make Superman a white guy, but in another world, Superman would probably be Black.
Yeah.
Because
Superman experience is my experience. My family.
He's literally coming from a place where his technological place is destroyed because of the things that they did, right? And he's ripped from that. Like we were ripped from that. And his whole thing is to like be of service. What powers him? The sun. We are people of the sun. So when y'all get all tripping on the guy in blue, you really need to go deeper, because it's really us. But we're trying to put these tropes and these archetypes on certain things or whatever, and not even realizing that that's really us in a nutshell. But we don't buy into that, and it's literally like hating yourself, because we are the aliens in this nation. And here's the thing: we have elevated the culture in this nation. Period. What would this country be like without jazz? What would this country be without rock and roll? What would this country be without country music? All done by us. You want to talk about faith? Ain't no faith come out of Europe. Christianity, Islam, Judaism, all on the continent. I'm just saying, all your superheroes, they got that quote unquote Europe trope to them. Do we really need to talk about the Greek gods? I can talk about J.A. Rogers, Stolen Legacy, all day long. So everywhere you look, we're there. That's my point. And so our stories are valid from that standpoint. We have to claim it, though. Why hasn't nobody done a story about the Moors?
Man.
The Moors ruled Europe for 700 years. 700 years. Not 7 days, not 7 weeks, 700 years.
Can we get a comic book on Hannibal? That would be
shout out to Denzel Washington. He's supposed to be doing a Netflix show on Hannibal.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're gonna let that go though. Y'all really gonna put Hannibal on elephants? With Denzel ride the elephant in, bruh. I'm here for that every day. But anyway, he who trolls has graciously joined us with his presence.
He's got his border tribe blanket on and everything.
You said border tribe?
The border tribe blanket.
Man, you don't want me to show you what blanket this is. Y'all gonna kick me off if y'all see what type of blanket this is. Trust me. Man, what's going on? So I'm late. Me and the wife had to go out to see Color Purple. You know, so Did that
Tron
thing.
World says, "What would the world be without hip hop? The genre they said it would be dead by '83." Man, look, y'all don't realize what the currency of black pain has created in this country, all over the world, honestly. But in February, Paul, the Bob Marley story will finally be told
Man, I'm gonna go
on
see
the
that.
big screen, and I think a lot of people are going to be surprised of how the influence of Bob Marley is all over the world. I know he's adored, but as far as Jamaica goes, he's really an international superstar.
He is beyond an international superstar. He is a internationally recognized icon and treasure. You know, say what you will.
Yeah, real superhero. Real superhero.
my little island in Jamaica, in the West Indies. There's a phrase that we have there called "we little but we talawa," meaning that even though we're a small island, we do big things. The Jamaicans all over the world doing big things. We created reggae music. We created jerk chicken, right? And we created Bob Marley. And these are things that you can go anywhere in the world and show Bob Marley's face, or talk about jerk chicken, or play reggae music anywhere in the world, and they will know what that is.
I remember
all from my little island.
I remember the first time I heard somebody from Jamaica describe reggae. He said it's the heartbeat. And it took a minute for me to realize what that is. If you listen to reggae and you listen to your own heart, the way your heart beats, that's reggae. And when I made the connection, it blew my mind. It blew my mind, because if you think about it, the way reggae is the way the drum is played, the drum patterns on it or whatever, it's not like a regular drum pattern. It's different. It's I was like, bro, that's genius. But you're right. That's the genius of Bob Marley, man.
Shout out Tron World.
Yep.
Hey,
got that covered. Got that covered on the Moors. Appreciate it. Make it happen. Make it. Now, Charles
seeing that comic book, Tron World.
Now, Charles Stewart III says, okay, I just had a thought. What if Marvel was trying to subtly take away Anansi's shine with Loki being the god of stories, especially Loki?
Ooh, bro, how about I was thinking the same thing when I heard that was what Loki's was being described as the god of stories. I'm like, there's already a god of stories.
It says, would love to find, NBA Live Girl says, would love to find issue 3 of that Marvel Bob Marley comic.
What Marvel Bob Marley comic? What are you talking about?
I got that at 9.8, Bob.
Start some NBA Live Girl. You about to start some. Hold up, sir. I got something I want to show you guys.
Hey, Paul, you like my
by Marvel?
I got my non-plexing background now.
I need more info on that.
I got my non-plex background, Paul, just for you.
Why she gives us that?
I was wondering why you put that background on. I think you were trying to make up for all the flexing you've done on me.
Listen, I don't know. I'm of the mindset that when these guys sit in these rooms and they come up with who's going to do what, I don't think they're not thinking black like us. So they're going to think Loki. That's who they honor. That's who they adore. So I don't know about people taking shine from a Nazi.
Here you go, Paul. Here you go, Paul.
She said a Bob Marley comic book, not Marijuana Man. Ziggy Marley and Marijuana Man.
Wow.
Jim, what?
It might be based
There's
off
a Marijuana Man by Ziggy Marley. Is that what you're referring to?
It's a
NBA
big
girl,
book, too.
NBA Live girl.
No, I don't think she's talking about this, but this is put out by his family.
No.
Tough Gone. It's got the Tough Gone in print on it. So this is a actual book, but this book is that's the guy. He's that's what he's called, Marijuana Man. But it's a book about talking about the medicinal properties of marijuana and that kind of thing. But it's a real comic book. It's a real comic book. Now, Richard is not a advocate of you partaking of the leaf,
the sticky icky,
the sticky icky, the greenery, whatever you want, whatever colloquialism you want to put on it. But we do recognize the healing properties of hemp and marijuana. That's a given. So.
Shout out to frustrated fans. Another $5. Thank you. Before Paul ruins receiving money and I have to start sending old paper food stamps.
Well, we're not gonna let him run nothing from Marvel. Marvel is a Nazi. We're not doing that. We ain't gonna mess up the bread. We ain't gonna mess up the bag trying to show clips of stuff.
We might take food.
Donation. It's a donation. I thought it was the trash. Don't be hitting on me.
Thank you.
Can food stamps be applied to new equipment?
Tragic. You know what?
Why is Herschel
Marvel music was short-lived.
What are you doing, Herschel?
No telling.
He just went mute, so he's got something going. He's got
his thumb literally on his camera. Look, see? Boy, you're being weird.
Listen,
can't hear you.
Listen. I want to go back to something that y'all sped over. The whole, I hear a lot of times in a lot of these discussions. I'm gonna try to land this plane rather quickly. I hear a lot of times these conversations about how this character was done wrong, this, that, there, as far as black characters, and I'd be hard pressed to think when these guys come to the table and they start thinking about who we're going to add and what we're going to do, they ain't thinking about their mindset isn't what original black characters, what black characters can we do? Well, what about this? That doesn't cross their mind. Like when I go into my man cave, I'm not thinking about Peter Parker, and as popular as he is, I'm not thinking about Clark Kent. When I'm around you guys, I'm not thinking about that stuff, and so. It's like if a white guy comes into Black Comic Lords or Black Superheroes Forever and he wants to talk shop about that.
Whoa.
I mean,
that's the same reaction Derek had.
Stop right there, Herschel. We got a super chat.
Stop.
A nice one. A real nice one.
That?
Wow. Blurred forever. Thank you.
What are those?
And now I just want to see you, man.
All right, we'll get to this question in a minute, but we got to play a super chat video.
Absolutely.
That's the over chat.
All right.
Blood forever.
Thank you again. We just really appreciate that. That's
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yo, Herschel. Now, to your point, Herschel, we're gonna get to the question in a second, Bert. We do know that they're not thinking about us per se. However, let me just ask the question: is the answer getting black editors into the room? Because we've had that.
Yes. Not enough.
But we've had that already.
Let me give you.
No, we haven't. Not really.
Let me give you guys the answer. Let me give you guys the funky answer that it's not popular. Nobody really wants to have this discussion. We don't want to have this discussion. Somebody, I don't know who it was, made a Paul. You posted in the chat, and
you can't trust anything I put in the chat.
Huh?
You can't trust anything I put in the chat.
Well, anyway, somebody was talking about black folks begging for certain characters.
Mm-hmm.
It really gave my mindset like we should be pressing black in the black producers, black directors harder. that's like a white guy, and it's not even on some. That's like a white guy coming to me and saying, "Hey, y'all need to do some more white characters in Black comic lords." Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We got to start pressing. We always are pressing Marvel and DC. Marvel and DC. We got to start putting our foot on some of these other directors and producers out here that's sitting around doing other things, got money, got studios, Tyler Perry of the world. And I know every time somebody hears Tyler Perry, they think Medea. This motherfucker owns the studios that Marvel does a lot of their movies in. He can just bankroll it, but we got to get on our own people's necks. Stop holding white folks accountable of trying to produce and do stuff Black centered. Like I'm starting to get to the point now, man. Like the conversation about like how they mess over us. Well, that's what they've been doing forever. Why do we expect them to do anything other than what they've been doing? And that's not criticizing how it feels.
I have a question.
Wait, hold on.
Let me finish.
Herschel, you're basically saying that we're complaining that we can't get a Whopper, but we've only been going to McDonald's. That's basically what you're saying.
No, it's not what I'm saying. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we're barking up the wrong tree. We're barking up the tree of the folks that we love the characters. Obviously, we want to see T'Challa. We want to see Blue Marvel on the big screen. But I ain't finna like I'm finna press my people about our characters. I keep going back to this thing about, and I'm not saying we don't have these discussions. Why are we wasting our time? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, I think we need to have a balance. There needs to be, let's get on Marvel's ass, but then let's come over here and get on this comic book. And if, hey man, y'all got option, or let's get a Black person option. Oh, how come this guy has we gotta stay if we're gonna stay on the gas, let's spread the wealth because we're not doing it with our own people. It doesn't feel like. Am I wrong here? I'm on left field. Like I just feel like we should be pressing our own people about our characters.
Well, here's the thing about that. Go ahead, Derek.
But he goes back to that comment about Black real estate, right? So I don't see a Black person that owns Blue Marvel.
Right.
I don't see a Black person that owns Black Lightning. Okay, all right.
But one of the things, to Herschel's point, we have the opportunity here in our space to have a lot of contact with various Black creators, and I like the fact that we focus on the creators and not the companies per se, because companies come and go. Creators go from one company to another, and some creators go from mainstream to independent, depending on what paycheck what bag they're trying to secure. Well, I remember when we interviewed Cody Ziegler, and one of the things I said to the dude was, you have an opportunity as a creator to create more Black characters. And that's something that I really, I don't know if it's an editor issue. They don't allow them to make more characters or not. I don't know. But for my part, I would encourage, whenever particularly when you're working on these mainstream books, and I get the concept that when you're working on a mainstream book, you're doing it understanding, as Kevin Greavy said, you're doing it understanding that you're not going to own the IP. It's work for hire, right? Mm-hmm. And any character you create, you're not going to own anymore. But do you do that with the idea that you're never going to create? You're in a situation where you can create, add to the story, add to the tapestry, at the same time tell a dope story. I know you want to give your top.
You're still trying to work within the realms of a mainstream white company.
And
I'm talking about Kevin Greavy.
I'm
talking about those guys leaving like Emmett did, because we're getting off track.
Those guys. Let me finish my point. All right. Cody Ziegler has been cool about creating a lot more Black characters in his run on Miles Morales, and I just think I would love to see more creators, when they get the opportunities in these mainstream books, to do the same thing.
I have a question.
Yeah,
I have a question. But we kind of hitting on the. I mean, isn't that to me, to Herschel's point, the only way we could do something like that is to completely divest. And the question becomes, are we willing to do that? Because you brought up Cody Ziegler. I'll bring up somebody closer to us, John Jennings, when he did Ghostlight.
Right.
That literally was a heartfelt passion project. I don't know if John approached that like, you know what, I'm going to create this character. I'm going to give him this world space. And once I'm done with it, he's gone. Because that's ultimately what every Black creator at Marvel or DC has to do. They have to create a baby and give that baby
away.
Drop that baby off.
Right.
You're literally a surrogate. You're literally a surrogate for a company. We talked to Kevin Green.
John built the rental unit and stayed in it for a few months.
Guys, that's not my question. We're still thinking Black artists and writers inside of a white space. Listen, I'm talking about the Codys, the Kevin, respectfully, of course, the Kevins, all those guys, like what happened with Image Comics. They didn't like what was going on at DC. They came and they created their own brand. Milestone did the same thing. That's what I'm talking about. So never mind. Let me finish my point. Ghostlight, fine. All got Blue Marvel, fine. But let's let those guys who own those IPs deal with them. But let's go and mess and create brand new stuff that these guys could get behind, that we could crowd grassroots, put into a movie studio, even if it's a small studio. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about working within the confines of a Marvel and DC and being Black and creating more Black characters. That's been done, and you still have to ask permission. But if John Jennings of the world, the Kevin Greavies, the Cody Zieglers, and you can, the list goes on, they go come together, put their coins together, cash, the Rodney Barnes of the world, put their cash together and say, boom, we want to put it out. All Black. We want to buy Black, support Black. This is a all Black thing.
I will. Let me push back on that for just a second. Mm-hmm. Because you're right. Those guys did leave Image. Did leave the big two, and they went to, but a couple of those guys went back to the big two. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day. Matter of fact, the only guy that's still in Image, really, is Tommy McFarlane. The rest of those guys are, Jim Lee is a corporate guy at DC now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the other guys are doing.
Well, Eric Larson's still out there doing his own thing.
Yeah.
Mark Silvestri still has Top Cow. Todd, what's his face? Rob Liefeld, he's kind of just does whatever he wants to do.
Yeah. Well, my point is,
can you bring up Eric Guapo's comment? Not this. No, the one before that.
This one.
That's a really good point. So I almost want to say I recant what I said before. The better thing if you're a Black creator working at Marvel or DC to do, and I should have said this from the beginning rather than what I said about create new characters. Don't create. I take it back. I'm recanting. I take it back what I just said. Don't waste your own IP on Marvel and DC. This is what you do instead. We're Black comic lords. One of the things that we talk about all the time is our website.
We ain't gonna get no interviews with Marvel and DC.
We've got all these characters, all these obscure characters in Black history, in throughout the history of comics, right? And they're never used. Bring back an old character and make them useful. Take them off the shelf, dust them off, give them a new glow up, throw a new fit on them, and change their power set, up their gear, and take them out of obscurity. There's a plethora of characters that are there. You don't have to waste your IP. You can reinvent the character in such a way that it becomes a completely new character. How do I know? It's been done before. Christopher Priest with Black Panther reinvented that character in 1998. Completely reinvented that character. and made him something tremendous as a result. That can be done with any character. We got Night Thrasher coming out in a month or so. And are we still going to have Dwayne Turner running around on a skateboard?
But I don't think so. But listen,
no, they're going to put him on a hoverboard.
I just want to remind us, we still got to get back to this.
Yeah. That's why I was finna try to transition us back that way. But let me say this before we close this out. I think, though, we were talking earlier about black real estate. Black real estate does not exist in Marvel or DC.
Right.
It doesn't. So knowing that, we have to literally, like I said earlier, are we willing to divest from that? That means everything that's there. That means Paul giving up to Chop. That means
what? No.
Oh, next question.
See, it all sounds good until it's your guy. It all sounds good until it's your guy.
Because T'Challa has not been their guy since '98. When Priest took it over, followed by Hudlin, Coates, and now I skipped that guy, and now Eve Ewing. He has been morphed into our guy. He has changed so much from when he was first introduced in Fantastic Four 52, and he has had much more black influence than any other character in Marvel Comics. There have been more black writers.
It's still a rented character. Still a rented character.
Yes, he's rented, but it's rent to own. It's rent to own, damn it.
That is why the black comic character, the black comic fan, the black comic community is like a herding cats. It is a walking contradiction. Let's get to let's get to Blurred Forever comment. Okay, he says, what are the highs and lows of the now defunct DCEU from Man of Steel to Aquaman 2? Let me say,
high would be Wonder Woman.
Well, I don't know. I'm gonna say that the high is, ironically, the high has been Aquaman. It was the $1 billion movie, the only $1 billion movie out of the whole bunch. It made $1 billion. The first one, Man of Steel didn't make $1 billion. Batman vs Superman did not make $1 billion. Wonder Woman, respectfully, did not make $1 billion. Go look the numbers up. Go look the numbers. We're talking about the DCEU.
That's true.
I understand that, but I'm saying, is our criteria just how much money the movie makes?
No, I'm just saying the most successful of all the films has been Aquaman.
Yeah. What's your basis of success, though? Critical acclaim or money? Because
Paul, with that same logic, hold on, Paul, with that same logic, every time I'm going to remember this conversation. Every time I'm gonna remember this conversation when you throw Black Panther up in everybody's face. It's the best single big movie ever been to MCU. Y'all heard him say that, right?
Juggernaut. What are you talking about,
Richard? It was a cultural juggernaut, man. I want to troll, but I can't.
It goes beyond the amount of money it made.
Yeah, it changed, bro. You will never ever see what people were doing at theaters like that again. It's never gonna happen.
We're talking about DC. We're talking about DC right now. So, in my opinion, Aquaman was the most successful movie. I did like Henry Cavill as Superman. Unfortunate, he didn't get to really wear the cape like Christopher Reeve. I think he could have did something comparable if he had the writing, and also if they allowed him to like really do something with the character. The lows, in my opinion, you guys can go after this. The low, in my opinion, is unfortunately, I know he's your guy, Paul, but Black Adam was a shell game, and they fooled us.
I like Black Adam.
I liked it too, but they gave us we thought we was gonna get Black Adam versus Superman, and the day after it came out, they said, Cavill's out.
But that had nothing to do with the film, though. The movie itself was fine. It was just that after the movie came out, DC decided, hey, we're firing our head. We're putting James Gunn in charge. And Dwayne The Rock Johnson, that little deal that you had, the plans that you made with the last president to make Black Adam the center of the new DC universe, where he was the most powerful character and could kick Superman's ass and that you were going to change and make DC more fun and action-packed and darker and what have you. And by the way, love the fact that you introduced the first people of color superhero team in a mainstream movie ever. Pause.
Legacy characters. Legacy characters.
Doesn't matter. He put it on the screen. No one's ever done that before in a big budget mainstream film. First to do it. That ended. That's not something to be celebrated. That's a sad moment.
The best thing I think that came out of all of this was the Batman.
Yes, I was about to say Matt Reeves, the Batman.
Yeah, the shock to me, the shock was Joker.
But those are DCEU though.
Those are DCEU. Yeah,
they're not considered part of the DCEU.
I know. But
Matt Reeves, the Batman, was
so. But before the Snyderverse stuff and all of that, you know what I'm saying? That's how I saw it. I mean, you guys tell me. I mean, what was the highlight of the DCEU?
Let me ask you a question. Have all of you watched the Justice League movie?
Yeah.
Have all of you watched the Snyder Cut?
Yeah, the Snyder Cut, yeah. Mm-hmm. The 8-hour-long Snyder Cut, yeah.
It's long, but it did make more sense.
It did.
I mean, it made you look at the film in a completely different light when you watch the Snyder Cut. It really was a better film. It was long as hell, but it was a better film.
It literally was 2 movies, man. Come on.
It literally was a completely different film.
Mm-hmm.
It was 2 movies. It was literally 2 movies.
Justice League was panned, but Justice League Snyder Cut, I thought that was the pinnacle of the DC universe.
But see, it was also the disappointment, though. The disappointment of the DCEU or the DCEU, in my opinion, was the fact that we didn't get the Cyborg movie. We were supposed to get a Cyborg movie in 2020.
Yeah.
That was on the roll. All the stuff that happened with Ray Fisher came down the pike or whatever. Could you imagine if we'd have got if everything would have been perfect, quote unquote, in a perfect world, that movie would have came out? You literally got a black superhero, not a legacy character, an original black character, right? Who is, baked for his Kryptonian and all kinds of tech. And we're living in the information age. I think they could have ran wild with that. We did get to see highlights of that and glimpses of that in the Snyderverse version because he was the hero for the most part in the Snyder Cut. We know that now. But to me, that was the letdown of all of this. The fact that we didn't get a
Cyborg should be the hero of the 21st century. He should be a much bigger deal than he actually is. His powers are almost limitless, especially with the mother box. The teleportations, the ability to tap into the internet, know literally everything, the ability to control other machines, the nanites that allows him to change himself at will. His power sets are crazy. A Cyborg film exploring all of that would have been nuts.
Listen, I can't think of hardly any big boy black superheroes for DC that aren't giants. And I know someone's like, what are you talking about? No, listen, follow me. Follow me on this one.
Hold on. Repeat your point. Did you say you don't know of any black superheroes?
I don't know of the bigger, so for example, when we talk about the big
Mal Duncan.
Huh?
Mal Duncan.
No. Well, okay. Well, since you wanted to go there, let me go ahead and air this out. Mal Duncan was one of the strongest black superheroes ever.
Stop lying.
Listen, can I talk?
This brother capping on air. Are you kidding me?
No. Can I talk? You won't let me talk.
Not
the reason why for this, see, I can't talk. I knew he wasn't gonna let me talk. Listen, the reason why Mal Duncan, and I was saying, listen, can I finish? The reason why Mal Duncan at the time when he had the horn made him such a big deal, but they never expound like Cyborg. It's a freaking big deal. He can control any type of computer he wants. I mean, whether it be alien tech, whatever. But back to Mal Duncan. Mal Duncan actually beat the Archangel in a fight. Archangel, so the prize for that was he got a horn. The horn gave him the ability to even up the odds no matter who he's fighting. So that means if Superman comes into the room, You could get what's the dude that's the pink dude? A Parasite will pop up. He will literally can pop up Parasite and make Doomsday and make Doomsday fight Superman. If T'Challa shows up and he wants some smoke, since he wanted to go there, guess who's gonna come walking out of that portal? Your boy gonna come walking out that portal. Killmonger. So whoever you bring to the fight against Miles Duncan, he just gonna blow his horn, and the next best thing, or just as bad of a thing, is gonna walk up and y'all gonna do battle. The only drawback to that was this: if you lose a fight, you're going to hell. That was the curse that came with the trumpet. Now, guess what? DC.
The only drawback is that you're blowing the damn horn.
Well,
That's stupid.
Listen. I can talk about a lot of goofy and silly stuff that DC and Marvel was doing. All right, but let me get back to my point that I was going to make. So we've already talked about Cyborg. Who needs to talk about John Stewart, the strongest, the baddest on record with receipts Green Lantern that has ever lived? DC has said it themselves. Black Lightning, that's another big boy black DC character. He's supposed to be what did Batman say about Black Lightning?
He stands with the gods. He stands with the gods.
Stands with the gods. Nubia has defeated Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman in some iterations has been stronger than Superman. So, like, as the list goes on, Vixen at one point had the ability to be like adapt to it. Like, the list kind of goes on, but we just have, DC hasn't chosen to expand on these black characters because they haven't had to.
Well, but that's the comic book talk, Herschel. That's the comic book talk. We were talking about the DCEU.
But I'm saying I'm using the same narrative for the DCEU. Like when they came out, when they said, "Oh, we're gonna do a Cyborg movie," and then also they said, "Oh, we're gonna do a Static," and there's gonna be a Black Superman. I said, "Wait a minute, y'all gonna have 3 Black Negroes flying around for DC Comics?" Nah, somebody lying. And what happened? Everything started falling apart. Static, we was praying, even on this show. Come on, Static. They were saying we're gonna get a Static movie. All of a sudden, that went dark. Michael B. Jordan was supposed to be behind that. That went dark. The Black Superman thing actually came up earlier this year with James Gunn. All of a sudden, that went dark because bad things happen. With other than just COVID.
Well,
but then
to be respectful, though, we didn't ask for any of that. We didn't ask for
nobody
Superman.
asked for Static.
No, I mean we asked for Static, yes, but we didn't ask for Valzar. We didn't ask for Calvin Ellis. We didn't ask for Sunshine Superman. We didn't ask for none of that.
But listen, and I don't like to cut for Valzar. But when every time, even in this last iteration with the comic book that came out, where everybody was posting it up in Black Comic Lords, was saying basically this was a great run with all Black superhero team. Who was in the front of that book? Valzar. And who were people talking about all of COVID? Valzar. Finally, we get a Black Superman.
You know as well as I do, Herschel. You know as well as I do that's all fake fannery. That's just like when Hawkman was when they decided to cast Aldridge Hodge for Hawkman. All these Hawkman fans came out of the woodwork. They came out of the cracks. We ain't never seen none of y'all.
But watch this. Some of the same thing happened with Black Panther. I was a fake Black Panther fan until I saw the movie. And then I was like, oh, he's actually kind of cool.
I like how you say it was a fake Black Panther.
Now, check this out. I'm gonna show you how fake the fannery is behind Valzar and Calvin Ellis. Somebody tell me the notable Calvin Ellis Valzar story.
In the chat, yeah, go ahead and chat. I mean, that's subjective though. Come on, Rich.
Earth 2.
That's the book. What's the story?
The whole story of Earth 2.
Nobody read Earth 2. I can go. You know what? I see more Earth 2 books than Tribe books.
That's true. Justice Society 2 books, a lot of them out there too.
I'm just saying that when it comes down to the what they said they was going to do, what they didn't do, I think that at the end of the day, as far as Black superheroes on the Black side of DC, they have yet to do something, I would say, phenomenal. I mean, Black Adam was okay.
I know another high point of the DCEU.
What was that?
Peacemaker.
Tragic. You know
Peacemaker was awesome.
I didn't like him.
Suicide Squad was good. Suicide Squad 2 was good.
The first one's okay. The second one was
But
very
who did they
disturbing.
leave out? Who did they leave out? And we might still not see Vixen and Bronze Tiger, as if they didn't exist. And nobody said much about that. Maybe because the folks didn't care.
You have a point there, Herschel. That was disappointing. Vixen and Bronze Tiger are two characters that if they were introduced in the DCEU.
Eric says Earth End Action Comics 3. Congratulations, Eric. You're about the only person that read a Valzad comic.
What do you say?
I got the first appearance, and I got a few Earth 2 books, but I'm not going to sit here and act like, you know what I'm saying? I just, no. When it comes to Superman or whatever, I purposely bought the A cover to the Beast World book that came out because they put Valzad out front. They put him out front. That literally was a black comic grab, which is why I didn't grab it, because again, it's like he wasn't even in the story. I don't even think he was just on the cover. I mean, look, you know my guy is Black Lightning Herschel, and my man had 4 seasons of a book, of a series. 2 of them were only worth the price of admission. The last two seasons of that story was trash.
The last season was complete trash. Good God, that was crazy.
It was a dumpster fire. They could have stayed home. But you know, when it comes to the DC the DCEU, you know, Suicide Squad, the first one I enjoyed, the first movie, Suicide Squad, it's like a standalone film. You know, I mean, to me,
hey, hold on, Paul. I want to try something. Derek, do me a favor, and when it gets done, let me know. And I don't want nobody to try to flex and cap, and I'm going to go with this. No, I want you to keep it real. Derek, could you please do a poll for who would you rather see in a movie, but make it who would you rather see in a movie, but / who would have more butts and seats, Icon or Black Superman? And guess what?
What is the specific question?
The specific question is going to be:
would you rather
see in a movie, and who would you think would have, would have more, put more?
That's 2 questions. What is the question? I need 1 question, not 2.
Who would you rather see? Okay, I'll go with this one. Who would put more butts in seats, Icon or Black Superman? Now, if Icon wins, it's gonna be close. The poll, it's not gonna be no blowout.
That's Icon. That's
now, if we're the wrong channel to have this discussion. That's obviously our audience is going to pick Icon.
Okay, but it shouldn't be close though.
Charles Stewart said Black Superman
is
getting more butts and seats. Black Superman is. I don't think so. I do not think so. I don't think so. I put it like this here: casuals, they will see the S. They'll be like, yeah, that's what I want to see that. I mean, but think about it. They were talking about doing a Superman movie. They weren't going to do Calvin Ellis. They weren't going to do Valzar. They literally was going to make Superman, Clark Kent, a black guy. We were like, hell no.
The answer to Herschel's question is whichever one gets the better promotion.
Oh, come on, Paul. Nah.
That's the legal answer.
Listen, if you get a good director and a good actor to play Icon, he might have a chance. But
bro, imagine an Icon movie trailer. If you do a good movie trailer, if you do an Icon trailer good enough, you know, stemming from the depths of space, a child is born. An alien is reborn as a child in the deep South, struggling through the history of African American history, you know, through war and turbulence and civil unrest. He rises and becomes Icon, champion of the people.
Eric made a good point.
Icon or Black Superman, you guys are cold.
But guess what? If you make a great trailer for Icon, people are just going to say, "Oh, that's a Superman."
Well, I will. Listen, I think that part of it will be based on promotion. To Paul's point, and here's why I say that. Dwayne McDuffie helped create all these characters we're talking about as far as Milestone is concerned. And he has yet to get, in my opinion, on a commercial level, his flowers. I think that people would, now you talk about black real estate, getting behind a project something that Dwayne McDuffie created, that could have legs. Because Dwayne McDuffie was one of the best writers. I'm in a group, a comic book group.
Thank you, Eric.
And clearly, this is a group where the melanin is not strong in this group. They asked, "Who was your favorite, comic book writers?" And they were saying Alan Moore, Frank Miller, the usual suspect, Chris Claremont.
Right.
No one said Dwayne McDuffie. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a guy who helped create a brand, a 100% authentic, no legacy characters brand. Helped write a Bible, helped put together one of the most successful black company to put out comics. Sold 10 million comics in the 90s. That's Dwayne McDuffie. That's Dennis Count. That's Milestone.
As you mentioned.
And so my thing is, these characters, they have been accepted by us, but they haven't been embraced by everybody. Some people know Static from the cartoon, and that's cool. But again, Icon and Hardware particularly are his babies, in the sense that you want to see a story, it has to be one of those two characters. It could be Static, but could you imagine a story about Curtis Metcalf working in corporate America? He's this genius guy, and he keeps hitting his ceiling, and he's dealing with the quote unquote man, what we call Alva, breaking through, and decides to do his own thing, to take down his mentor, to take down the guy that is giving him everything or whatever. That would be a compelling story. And there's so many different ways you can do it. I mean, you literally take the Icon story or the Hardware story and just put it to music. Because somebody said it last week, I think a week before last, when we were talking about Hardware, that was actually McDuffie's story of him leaving Marvel. But you could tell that story, man. I mean, he got credit for the Spider-Man movie for creating Damage Control. But that dude was so much more than Damage Control. And it's a shame that he doesn't get called out from among the greats. And he's wrote Justice League. And he's done other stuff. He's done independent books. He did Exo Man of War, a valiant title. He wrote Ultraman book. He wrote She-Hulk.
Hey, can I make a point? If we don't even know the history behind Dwayne McDuffie and Damage Control, why do we expect them to even care? Because black folks ain't walk around like, man, Damage Control is Damage Control is. We're not talking about it.
Well,
So
I think the problem that's the thing about historians, Herschel. You can't. It has to be something that is. It has to be put in people's forefront. It has to go from the background to the foreground, and that's where black comic lords and people like us come in. Come into play.
To your point, Rich.
Absolutely.
To your point, where you mentioned Dwayne McDuffie, and we're talking about when we were talking about this question of who would be more popular, Val Zod or Icon. The thing that, and then people are saying, well, it's Icon is too close to Superman. The comparison would be there, and no one would be able to get it. Here's the thing. One thing that we're forgetting about the story of Icon and the way that Dwayne McDuffie wrote the character, it was never about Icon. It was about Rocket.
Right.
The story was really about Rocket. Icon
it was written from her perspective.
It was written from her perspective. The story was about her and her growth and how he was trying to shape her to become Earth's protector.
Mhm.
Even in Milestone 2.0, that was a central figure. That's why they added her name to the title. It wasn't just Icon anymore. It's Icon and Rocket.
Mhm.
And the story was really about Icon molding her to be Earth's protector, to replace him. And I think if they write it the way McDuffy did it that way, which to his credit, Reggie Hudlin did it the same way himself on Milestone 2.0, which is why that's probably my favorite book in the Milestone 2.0 run.
But doesn't that kind of start to crawl into the trough of what happened with Black Panther? Where you're making
because that's the way it was always written from jump.
I understand it was written from that perspective, but still, Icon is still the guy. Icon is the guy who lived these hundreds of years. Raquel has only been around 15, 16 years.
That's the whole
Icon
point.
has been around over 200 years. So you're telling me, hold on, and I get how he wrote it. He wrote it from the perspective that, it's about her, yes, but he's the guy. She doesn't have the belt. She doesn't have the powers without him. And she's helping him to deal with life as an immortal or as someone who is an alien living in this world. I get that point. But
that's
the danger of him being minimized in his own title.
That's where I disagree. It's not his own title. It's never been his own title. It's always been Rocket's title. And the idea, the reason that you're doing the 15-year-old versus the 200-year-old, it's because the idea is that you're taking your modern audience, your modern teenage hip hop audience, the ones that don't respect or necessarily even understand or know about their past, and you're putting them face to face with history, because that's what Icon is. He is a literary device of African American history, and you're having a teenager go face to face with African American history in its literal form, and everything he teaches her has a story behind it, and everything that he shares with her, the knowledge he shares with her, has that history behind it. 200 years of history from slavery until that time that he gets to share with her. If you're couching the story like that, if you couch the story like that, it has less to do with, hey, this is just another superhero film, except this is a black Superman. If you're couching the story as a story, if you're focusing on that, then you've got a completely different experience. And I think that's the way McDuffy intended it for it to be.
I think one thing that you have to do today in 2023, if you started off in space from his inception, you're going to run into a problem. You start off in slavery. Oh, it's woke. Come on, grab your keys. We leaving. Even in the trailer, you almost have to. And it's not even to really rebuttal to what Paul's saying. I would watch what Paul's saying. But to my point about getting butts and seats and getting it past because we're not gonna make enough more noise to overshadow the haters, and it is what it is. But I think you started off with slowly doing like quick flashbacks, but not like a real origin. But really,
that's exactly what I'm talking about, Herschel. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
In your first film, if it's a hit and people are like, "Yeah," then you pull a Spawn on them, like what Todd McFarlane did, and say, "Hey, you do know he's black, right? You do know." And so what you do in the second film, maybe even the third one, then you go back because you already got the asses in seats. You go and you start talking about, oh yeah, this guy is actually like Superman, sort of, kind of, but not really. And then you kind of show the slavery aspect. But then you really wanna touch on it, but you don't want to stay too long because you already know what's gonna happen. And it's not running from it. It's more so, listen, we live in a different time now. You trying to make money, or you trying to what's your goal? And I think if you just get a story, I kind of rock. Now, Paul said something about young audience. I'm gonna say something very outlandish here, and y'all gonna hate me for it, but I gotta say what I gotta say. if you're gonna get Rocket, she's got to be the perfect cast. You darn near got to get Icy Spicy to play Rocket to get some of these jitty bugs in here. And I'm just gonna keep it a stat. I'm gonna keep it a stat. You almost have to put her as Rocket to get some of these jitty bugs in here.
No light skin Rockets. No. Hell no. You know what? It's 2:30. We've been in 2.5 hours. It's time to go home. It's time to go. Yeah.
Every time Rich hears something he doesn't like, it's time to go home.
It's time to go. It's time to go. We've been 2 hours, 2.5 hours. What we doing?
Yeah, a long time.
And look, here's the thing. I get what everybody is saying, but that's why I'm a comic book head. So all this stuff that we talking about, ain't none of it gonna get made. So can we get back to this?
Rich is like you're on the plantation and the little boy's saying, someday I'd like to be, running free with my own land and my own horse. And then the old man comes to the little boy and says, "Shut up, fool! You a nigga, you a slave. You never gonna be but that."
No, I wouldn't couch it like that, Paul. I would just simply say, "Go over and get that bell, boy. Stop playing. Master gonna hit you with that whip." Look,
dreaming.
I get it but here's the thing about that. It's like masturbation, Paul. It may feel good, but it ain't gonna produce. It ain't hear me. It may feel good, but it will not produce life. We're not gonna get no stories out of this. No.
That's something Charlamagne the guy would say.
I'm just saying that yes, it feels good to talk about these different things or whatever. But how realistic is it that something like this is going to be? Now look, there's the poll right there.
That needs to be the title. That needs to be the title of this episode: is Black Comic Lords from Superhero to Masturbation.
We need to do some more polls though. We do like a static versus Black Lightning.
Now, again,
Richard ain't gonna like that one.
No, I recognize that my guy.
First pulling a Derek on you.
No, I recognize that my guy does not have. My guy does not have the mainstream appeal. He's a street character, but I'm good with that. I'm good with him being a street character. I'm good with him being
mainstream appeal. He had a freaking show, a live action show.
Well,
I think Black Lightning has a potential far beyond being a street character.
Like I say, two seasons were good. That book was good. I mean, that series was good. The last two were terrible.
Watch it.
But to your point, what I'm saying? It's like I enjoy seeing a guy in the street fighting in the street with the villains, the real villains of the hood. Because guess what? My fight is not with the aliens that's out 2 to 20 million light years from Earth. That's not. No, my fight is with white supremacy.
Why
what it looks like in the hood.
People, Black Superman fans at 40. Why is that number so high? Because here's the thing: you make a Black Superman movie. Why are people not going to go see it? Because there will be such an outcry from fanboys. I know here in Florida, where I live, Ron DeSantis would full on probably ban the film from movies in the state of Florida for being another version of wokeness. They're trying to take away our heroes.
I mean,
this woke Hollywood's taking away our Superman. Why?
Well, but again, the question is why. Look, when one of my favorite shows and one of Herschel's favorite shows that came out years ago was The Wiz, which is a take on The Wizard of Oz. The Wiz was a phenomenal musical. Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, Ted Ross, Mabel King. Never forget.
That last scene was a little wonky though, man. Somebody
was but you need that though. But you need that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because it's
the guy in the subway with the music box is the worst part of that whole movie.
Somebody was taking some stuff when that part.
Anyway, look, the point is they were shedding the old life off of them. Get with it, brother. Get with the symbolism of it. But my point is this. When that came out, when it was on Broadway, people had problems with it.
Absolutely.
So the thing is, when we reimagine stuff, I don't see the world as the average white guy does. I never will. No more than the average white guy knows the world that I live in. He may have an idea. He may look to media to try to give him an idea, but you know what? I know that's not the truth. The point is that when we reimagine things or whatever, right, it has to have a sense of purpose. It can't be for temporary representation. It has to have some real merit. What good is it? I said it earlier, Paul, before we had this conversation, that the story of Superman is really the story of black people in this country.
All right, sound log off now, Paul. Seriously. I'm not putting up with that now. Come on.
No, that's what it is. An alien crash lands into a foreign country.
So we crash landed over here, huh?
Oh, you don't think the slave ship was a crash landing?
We got sold over here, man. That's what's called a slave trade. Come on, man. Let's not go there, man. Let's not do that.
We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us.
Whatever. Same principle, though.
No.
About a person. No. Listen, a displaced person. We can say that we were displaced, right? Can we say that?
We were displaced.
Thank you. So I'm not saying it is the same. I'm saying it is a similitude of it. We are people of the sun. We're people from Africa, West Africa, hot Africa, okay? Not cold Africa. I'm just saying, bro, do that. Look, I can get my Umar on when I want to. I'm just saying that there's symbols to it. Me and you, matter of fact, me and you, Herschel, we had a conversation years ago talking about capes, and a cape represents a mantle. Jews now it was Superman.
I remember that conversation.
Jews created Superman, and they wear prayer shawls, and Superman wears a cape. It is a mantle. So it's similar. I'm just saying these mantles. Now, Paul, I know you don't.
Pimps wear capes too.
Yeah, well, see,
but there's a reason though for that, Paul.
That same minute when we talk about Black Panther.
Hey, you want to know something else too interesting about Black Panther? You rarely, hardly, if ever, see Black Panther wearing that cape outside of his country. It's usually always depicted while he's in Africa, while he's on his throne.
Yep.
Except for
and he ain't got the. Here's the funny part. He ain't got the conservative cape. He got the way up.
Except for that Avengers run, because after Priest brought him in and that suit was so tight with the bulletproof vibranium, whatever, they kept it on him during that Avengers run. But after that, brother just been, that's always been one of his staples, to make sure he has that cape on when he's back home. But
now put up Sir Christopher the Great's comment. He says, let's be real. 90% of the comic industry is white. Icon doesn't sell. Working at a shop for the last 5 years in black characters other than Miles Morales and Blade. I think that you really just you really just Captain Obvious with that, Sir Christopher. But here's the thing about that. Because a character doesn't sell does not necessarily make them a bad character. In fact, I beg to differ that, the reason why these characters don't sell is because people will not really give them a chance, or they're not exposed to them like they should be. Now, everybody likes their quote unquote Trinity: Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, right? As far as DC goes. But the DC universe is so larger than that. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's talking about, say, Dr. Light. No one's talking about Dr. Fate. No one's talking about these characters. No one's Mr. Terrific, third smartest man in DC. I don't know why they called him the third smartest man. Who's the first two?
Lex Luthor would definitely have to be.
Who's number two? Batman?
Gotta be still, man. Even over Holt. He got the years, man. A lot of people don't like that, but Batman's got the freaking resume though. Holt's kind of he's not even 30 years old yet. He's only done so many things. But still, he's still smart. Got a bunch of PhDs, the whole nine. But
I mean, and see, we joke and we play about this stuff, but like we talk about Jakeem Thunder. Nobody knows who that is. Nobody cares. We care. Amazing Man. Justice Society of America. We care, but the world doesn't care. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, do I want to be the popular guy so I can be in the popular crowd? Or do I really want to have an authentic fandom?
Charles Stewart's question?
I want to answer it too.
So you just hit the big question, Rich. How do readers, especially new readers, get exposure to these characters on their own?
By subscribing to the Black Comic Lords. Hit the like button, subscribe to our channel.
Go to our YouTube channel, Black Comic Lords, or you can go to our website at blackcomiclords.net and learn a little bit about these characters. We got a lot of stuff on our website that you guys can kind of peruse. We got our YouTube channel has all kind of crazy stuff on it. Lots of interviews, lots of round tables. We do a lot of, some of you guys this might be your first time watching this. We clowning tonight. We clowning tonight. We get a little serious. We're being facetious tonight. This is the wrap up, weekend wrap up, Wednesday wrap up.
Where's the blackcomiclords.net commercial producer?
Oh, he's already on it.
Remember, we can't play that. It's got the music attached to it. We can't play it.
What?
Yeah, we took a hit on that one. So.
We did?
Oh, we actually did.
Wow. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Well, check us out, man. Check out
just pull up the page and scroll it.
Listen, let me tell you something about us.
Speaking of the website, shout out to Khatib Omari with his super sticker. Khatib is a member of the Black Comic Lords who helps us keep the website fresh.
And he just hit us with a super chat. Thank you for the donation, my brother.
Appreciate you. Listen,
thank you, Khatib.
When it comes to black characters,
next time you need to join
one
us
thing,
on
just a
live.
quick piece of trivia on this. That clip right there never happened in the movie.
It didn't?
Never happened.
Wow.
It was cut out?
No, that's an alternate version.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
But guys, as far as I want to say two things. As far as black characters are concerned, granted, John Jennings and them with Marvel are working on this whole basically black character dictionary, and that's coming next year. But black characters, you're just gonna have to dig and look for, or we've already done the work for you. Head over to blackcomiclords.net for noteworthy books and keys, but also join Black Comic Lords, join Black Superheroes Forever. Hit the notification bell so when there's posts and information, you can kind of keep up with it. But ultimately, and this is my last thing, Deion Donovan said it best. Comic books are the church, but the movies and shows, and I will say, unfortunately, are the mega church. And if you are in attendance and you have your butt in the seat, you're gonna learn something. You're gonna embrace this stuff. But if you're an outlier, I'm not saying that's who you are, Charles. But I'm just saying, like, you have to really be plugged in, because Superman, you're gonna see Superman gonna be in your mailbox someplace. You're not gonna be able to escape a lot of these mainstream white characters, but these black characters, you have to go and sometimes look under a rock for them, and that's the way it is.
Now I will say that Charles Stewart 30 asked a question. We said earlier, go to Black Comic Lords, but let me be 100% authentic with you as well. A lot of times we all need a mentor in these spaces. We need somebody that's been there. We need somebody that knows the stuff. And that's really where you get started, because all of this stuff, even the stuff that we have on our website or whatever, you'll look at it, it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of characters, a lot of comic books, a lot of notable keys, a lot of grails, a lot of stuff. Like, well, where do I get started? And ultimately, it boils down to what your taste is. It's like, okay, do I want capes and cowl stuff, or do I want mysteries and horror or different genres of stuff like that? Finding someone that's in the space is really one of the best things that you could do. We know a lot of dope people in this community, and I owe a lot of my collection and what I've collected to other guys before Black Comic Lords was a thing. Rico Jones was one of my favorite people in this space. He was one of the first people to give me an A-OK. He just saw my passion, I guess, and he just wanted to be a blessing. And the community is the biggest thing in this thing. we need people in the community. You need to connect with people, like-minded individuals. You don't even have to necessarily be like-minded. You just got to be open to receive. Because that's the other thing too. Because I do know about comic book people. Comic book creators can be a-holes at times. But if you find someone that's open, that's willing to share, and they're willing to give you some tips on what to collect, how to collect, where to go, honey holes, things of that nature, questions to ask, how to go down certain rabbit holes. All that's a skill that oftentimes is taught. It's not something that you just bump your head. You know what I'm saying? You have a lot of books in your collection, just buying this, that, and the third, just trying to grab everything. But if you're trying to be intentional with your collection, connect with somebody in the space. You know what I'm saying? Whether, our Facebook group is a group where we ask a lot of questions to ask. A lot of people post a lot of different books, and there are a lot of different, subjects that come up because of this collecting. Charles still says that's mainly how my generation got introduced to static, and I'm proud of that. I feel like the things that have the easiest accountability and less barrier to entry get the attention. It does.
That's a big part of the challenge, because the whole, if you're talking about comics and floppies,
right,
that whole distribution channel is really made for people that have always been using that channel, not for people that are new to that channel. I mean, it used to be that we had newsstand distribution as well. You go to the store and get it. You can, a grocery store or a convenience store or somewhere place like that. You don't have that anymore. So that's a major challenge for new readers who aren't just going to walk into a comic shop on their own, but that, you walk into a grocery store all the time. So that's the place where the comic book industry, I think, is in some ways has lost its way, because you don't have a way just to attract somebody who doesn't read comics just by letting them see a cover and have them pick it up anymore.
Yeah. I want to go back to something Eric said earlier about the struggle of getting other readers involved.
Yeah, this one.
Yes, if a black character that needs to resonate beyond just black people, Milestone has this issue. The characters have the social ills of America baked into them, and that turns away most white read. Now I will say this.
Back on that a little bit.
I am Paul. I will say this, as we talked about it earlier. Our struggle in America. See, people have this thing where particularly white people, they have this thing where they want all their stuff to be free of politics. They want their stuff to be free of wokeness, or they want their stuff to be free of these social ills. Well, guess what? Welcome to white privilege. You can do that. Whereas black people, our existence is reminded almost daily in the news that we're black. And we have to deal with certain things, whether we're talking about police officers and our history with law enforcement, whether we're talking about the history of policy, redlining, whatever. We can go down, we can have a big discussion. Now, the white guys, quote unquote, they don't want to read about that stuff. We don't want to experience that. I would love to have a fandom that's free of all those ills. But what if I'm dealing with those ills every day? I'm just saying. And so for us, it's like, okay, if we tell that story without a lot of our stories we can't even tell, because we got to attach this caveat to it, because oftentimes the struggles that we have is attached to it. You don't have a Reggie Jackson without a Jackie Robinson. You don't have a Lamar Jackson without a Joe Gilliam.
But Rich, I don't think he's disagreeing. I don't think you're disagreeing with what he's
I know
saying.
He's not disagreeing. I know he's not disagreeing. But what I'm getting at, though, and the point that I'm making is that it's hard. Listen, it's not like we wake up every day and say, you know what, I don't want to deal with this today. I just don't. I want a day free of oppression. I want a day free of the only way I'm able to the only way I'm not able to experience white supremacy is I don't go outside. I don't read a newspaper. I don't turn on the news. I don't watch watch cops. I don't watch. How do we do it, guys? I mean, Paul, you're a lawyer. How do we make this happen? How do we make the fandom free of the wokeness? How do we keep the fandom free of the social ills when it comes to the Black experience? How do we do that?
In essence, how do you get white people to buy comics that have Black characters in it?
That question.
But the distinction is if you want a Black character that's going to resonate with Black people, but also have that story resonate with the white, the broader audience. How do you do that? That's the question you're getting.
How do you do that?
Because obviously it's not a thing. It's not difficult to have a Black lead character and have white people buy it, because Spawn is the longest running Black superhero comic book in the world.
True.
And there's been other successes. Speaking of Image Comics, where Storm is from, Spawn is from. Stormwatch had Battalion, which is a Black lead character in it.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the best runs of the X-Men comic books was when Chris Claremont had Storm as the leader. So it's not a matter of why can't we get Black characters to be leads in these stories. I think there is some truth to the idea that if you're going to put the Black experience, our trauma, our pain, as the central part of the story, that will be off-putting to many white people that don't like to be reminded of the dirty little secret, the peculiar institution.
I mean, I get it. I do. I'm offering conversation for the sake of.
You have to Will Smith comics. You have to Will Smith comics. Or you have to Dwayne Johnson. You have to Dwayne Johnson comics.
Make everything racially ambiguous. I get it.
Make everything racial. You can be there, but don't have race be an issue. Do whatever. Be whatever character you want to be.
Now,
check this out. Be a god
Check this out. Angel last week on our show talked about when she did a cosplay.
Yeah.
As Scarlet Witch, and somebody at a con she was at told her that she shouldn't wear that. In fact, they told her to stay in her lane.
Right.
So there's nothing racially connected, quote unquote, to Scarlet Witch. She's just a character, mutant. But somebody had a problem with a Black woman cosplaying that character.
But what happens when I see the video of the little white boy who dresses up as Black Panther as his favorite superhero? Do you have problems with that?
No, not at all.
But the Black Panther isn't weighed down up until the last movie. He's not weighed down by so much trauma.
No.
Years and years of it. That's actually, I think, an important point too.
That's actually a very important point, because he's not weighed down by the history.
Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther doesn't go through his day going, "I'm Black."
Don't like Jada. That's funny. Now, Search Christopher Gray, he says, the majority of the time they'll buy Spawn, Miles, Blade, example, Bishop College, War College was the perfect story to bring in other races into the audience. It just wouldn't sell, no matter the actual guts. Listen, I had a conversation with a guy in the shop. Matter of fact, he owned the shop, and we were talking about Jon Stewart and how people, weren't buying the Jon Stewart books. They wanted Hal Jordan, they wanted Kyle Rayner, particularly Hal Jordan more than anything. But that's what they wanted. They didn't want Jon Stewart. So you look at that, and Jon Stewart is not someone that historically gets into the race, quote unquote, trope. Doesn't. He's cosmic. He's a cosmic character. Somebody say, go cosmic. Get out the hood. Well, Jon Stewart is not in the hood. He's the protector of Sector 2814. But the people in Sector 2814 won't buy his book. Why? I'm just asking questions. I mean, I don't have the answers, guys. You know what? But we know what you can do. You can go to blackcomiclords.net. You can check out some of our content. We don't have a store. We do have some links to some stores that you can buy books from. Somebody was asking, did we have a store?
We're working on the store. That's a 2024 thing.
Yeah. So
was I supposed to let that out the bag yet?
Well, the question is, do we shop in an actual shop or online? And the answer is both. We
we do both.
We love our shops and we love online.
As I just pull out my stack from my online purchases.
We make a point to we insist and we try to scream this, Sir Christopher, the importance of pre-orders. We know that shops have to eat money. So if you want a comic book, whatever it is, no matter what the title is, it's always best to pre-order it. Like today, I wish I would have pre-ordered the Action Comics annual that came out. I can't. I've been to 2 shops and that book is out. Somebody asked me.
Action Comics what?
The Action Comics, the annual. The annual just came out. We know that that's an origin story in there. Marilyn Moon Knight, correct?
Marilyn Moon Knight, yeah.
Yeah. Now, here's the funny thing about it. Now, it's an annual, but that's the only thing I know that's in the annual. Now, I do know that I guess talking to a guy at the shop, he said that this is like the last book for the new writer takes over. It's going to be a new writer on Action Comics. So, but this is it. Now, that shop, that book is not at the shop now. It's scarce. I don't know if it's because the people want to just get Marilyn Moon Knight, original character, new character, but but the point is, if I'd have pre-ordered it, it'd have been in my box waiting for me versus me just trying to go to the shop and get it because it's out.
And I listen to Richard Wright when he says, "Go buy books." Damage Control, written by the late great Dwayne McDuffy, with Bill Foster, Giant Man, as the lead character.
Yep. There's some dope books out here, y'all. We just got to find them.
And watch Black Comic Lords to find out which one they are.
Yeah. I'm super hip. I have a whole crowd of people that come to me and know what to buy every week. When I worked in the shop, I was so far ahead that they hated me. Well, you have the benefit of the knowledge of knowing what's going to come out versus,
so happy I got this.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, so that's a Black comic book for sure. So, but
covers too.
Yeah. Paul is flexing now.
Hey, Paul and Rich, somebody going way back in this conversation, somebody had asked a question about the Philadelphia 35 cover.
Yep.
So these are the 2. There's one with Blackula and Nita Hawes.
Uh-huh. Yep, coming soon. I saw that cover. I saw that cover.
Yeah.
So I think
what I'd like us to do? I'd like us to go to that interview that we did with Rodney Barnes, in which I pitched that cover to the left.
Rodney Barnes didn't draw that cover now.
No, listen to me. Y'all got short memories. Do you not remember when I did my pitch to Rodney Barnes? As I do oftentimes when we interview these creators, I do my pitch, Paul's pitch. And I said, how about you have Blackula go to Baltimore, meet up with Nita Hawes, and then they go up to Philadelphia. You don't remember that? Damn, you guys got short memories. I'm gonna go ahead and watch.
Your pictures are kind of obvious. I mean, anybody recommend those?
Obvious, and yet we have the cover to the left, which was the exact description of what I picked. Man, look,
this guy here, man. Stop. Look, I get it, Paul. You've given Mr. Barnes a couple of pitches. We know this. We have the interviews. We have the record. Has he yet to put you in a book? Well,
Oh, you're gonna throw that in my face?
No, I'm just saying he had. If you asked him to do it, he hadn't done it. He may do it. But I hope he doesn't, because if he does, then we're gonna have to listen to you for about 4 or 5 weeks. I'm in the comic book, right?
I'm gonna be ignorant. I'm gonna be ignorant.
You know what? Those teeth are scary. Those vampire teeth are longer than I'm used to seeing.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's pretty scary. So, but anyway, look, guys, man, we almost 3 hours in. We got to go. Yeah, y'all act like y'all ain't got to go to work in the morning. What's wrong with y'all?
I know I gotta be someplace at 9 o'clock.
You know, I mean, ain't none of us. I wish we could say that we all live in a basement, but ain't none of us. All of us got jobs. All of us got mortgages. All of us got friends.
Well, we don't all have mortgages.
Hey, I never got to give my highs and lows.
Shout out to Brian Hawkins on his empath.
Shout out, Brian.
What did you think about what was your highs and lows for that, Derek?
Okay. My highs would be Man of Steel and Wonder Woman, and then also the promise of Black Adam and the promise of Justice League. My lows would be Wonder Woman 2, the actual Justice League, Black Adam not having Superman, and then so those would be my lows.
Okay. So we got a couple of questions we got to get out of here, man. So Charles Stewart III says, I'm about to head out, but this was a good live. For Rich and Paul, will y'all be on the con circuit next year? If so, which ones? I know that there's a con coming up. You guys, are you doing MegaCon, Paul?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Okay. So he's gonna be at MegaCon. I will be at Comic Palooza 2024. I know that the shop down in Houston, Gulf Coast Cosmos, shout out to Byron Kennedy, the owner of that shop. We'll be trying to do some things with him in 2024. So I know that we have been asked to attend some cons, which ones we don't know. But there are a couple that we're thinking about. I'm not sure 100%. So I'm not going to just say we're going to be at this one. Going to be it. He says, I will be at MegaCon with Lightning Comics. Okay. Well, holler at Paul. Paul will probably be out there.
Yep. MegaCon, February.
There was also a question way back there about when are we doing our year-end show? So
the year-end show will be Saturday night. I guess normally 8 Central, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to talk the best of 2023. And somebody brought up earlier about Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
And how amazing that movie was made for $15 million. So that's definitely going to be on the list of best movies of the year and shows. And Derek, man, can you just show something so Paul will stop showing books?
Oh, there we go. These nice covers here.
I'm geeking out, enjoying my fandom, and y'all took that away from me. It's tragic.
Sir Crystal the Gray says, "Excuse my excitement. It's not every day I run into my people talking comics." Well, Sir Christopher, first of all, respect and thank you for that compliment. Derek, go ahead and show Sir Christopher and the rest of the good people some of our shows.
Can I show this cover though?
This guy here, man, he won't stop.
Can I point
what
out?
What is it, Paul? What is it?
I'm trying to show up. You won't big up
Paul. There you go.
Now, what's significant about this?
Oh, okay. I see black people.
You see black people. You see 4 black villains on the cover of a comic.
Yeah.
A Marvel comic. When have you ever seen 4 black villains on the cover of a Marvel comic?
It's new.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go get that.
Y'all just being all blasé about it. Okay, that's fine. I thought this was Black Comic Lord.
You do have a question. Which book is that, Paul?
I mean, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal.
NBA Live girl wants to know what book it is. Tell her what book it is, man. Stop playing.
Amazing Spider-Man Gang War #1. 4 black villains on the cover.
Yeah. And with Peter Parker on the cover, towering over the black villains. Yeah.
Here we go, Rich. Here we go.
So, for Sir Christopher and all the rest of you guys, our reoccurring lives, the shows that we normally do, Wakanda Whiskey and Blurredom Friday nights, that's with Paul and Mark. They get drunk and talk about comics and blur them in general. Real Talk with Rich, that's your boy. I'm usually here every Sunday nights, but we are on winter break and we will return January the 14th. And also we were doing Ladies Live, but that's on hiatus until further notice. That's just our reoccurring lives that we do. And of course, this show here, Wednesday Wrap Up, is a very new show. We've only done a couple of these. So, all things being equal, we'll be here next Wednesday as well. Here are some of our recent specials that we did. Interviews with John Jennings, Ken Quattro. We did a series of comic book interviews with him. Great historian, great human being. Whether Tony Crittrell, Lonzo Starr at Concrete. We even talked to the great Kevin Greeley about his work on Blue Marvel and among other things. And we've talked to a number of different creators, man. Black owned, Black artists, Black characters. That's all we do at Black Comic Lords.
And that's occasionally we talk about some Black keys.
Yep. Yeah, he's got a logo. Good for you, guy.
You know what? I just realized there's one that's left out. The Black Comic Creator Roundtable. That's not on here. I need to add that one.
Yeah.
The Black Comic Creators Roundtable?
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be at the top.
I need to add that one. I guess I missed that one. And our last interview was with Mr. Tim Fielder. It was a great interview.
That was a fantastic interview. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Point is, guys, we do a lot of work here, Black Comic Lords. We recognize that we're a young channel. We're growing day by day. We just want you guys to like the video, subscribe, share, tell somebody, tell a hater we don't care. Just tell somebody, hit us a like. First time here, Four Eyes Malone. Really like the discussion. Yeah, we clowning tonight. There are days, guys. Let me tell you, please don't take nothing that we say tonight serious.
Well, maybe 30%.
Maybe 30%. We will play conspiracy guy. We will troll a little bit. We will do a little bit, but on our regular shows, guys, we keep it 100. We try to stay solid, 10 toes down. But at the same time, we recognize that it's at the end of y'all lives. Y'all need to do a Marvel, a Black Comic Lords for return. I like that.
And I got a book for my daughter too, because I'm that type of dad.
You're the CEO and you keep flexing books and people are giving us ideas. You need to put them books down.
I'm giving promotion to a book for little girls, man. This is
you need to pay attention to the chat. You just put books up, That was a comment. Missed? Put that comment back up, Paul. I mean, Derek, put that comment.
Amazing.
The one that said that we need to put a Black Comic Lords return. Yeah, that one.
All right.
At the end of y'all live, do a Marvel outro, Black Comic Lords will return. Like they're doing the MCU stuff.
I love that idea.
See? And if I had not said that, you'd have missed that.
Yeah, I would have missed that. My bad. My bad, chat. I didn't mean to neglect y'all. I was getting wrapped up because I've been away, for the holidays. And when I got here, there was this big box of comics that just showed up. And I haven't had a chance to even open it and look at what's in there. So
shout out to the Porch Pirates for taking a vacation.
Huh?
Right. Porch Pirates, they all over the place, I tell you.
They're on vacation.
I usually post the best books of the week and tag the artist and writer, so I've been getting a great reception. That's what's up.
Check out the next comment. He says I can reach out to the next one. Yeah, William Tolliver and to come on if that's cool with you guys.
Have them email us at blackcomiclords@gmail.com.
Yeah, if you guys want to reach out to us, please do that. Our email address is blackcomiclords@gmail.com. Hit us up. We have a conversation.
Yeah, for those watching us on Instagram, we just don't have the ability to see your chat messages coming through.
Man, I forgot we were on Instagram tonight as well.
Yeah, so feel free to join us on YouTube. That's where we can see your comments coming through. We can put them on screen also, so we can interact with you a lot better. So, but thank you for those of you who did stick with us on Instagram as well.
Look, we got to get out of here, man. We over 3 hours in tonight. Y'all got a whole lot out of us tonight. We wasn't even trying to be here no more than an hour. We first introduced the show. We said,
did y'all see this comment from Surf Christopher the Great? I have a buddy that makes comic stands. Is it cool if I get you guys one? The logos are magnetic. If you check out my page, you'll see them in use.
I didn't see that comment.
Your page in the chat, so we can check it out. And yes, it would be very cool if you could get us a comic book stand that we could attach our magnetic logo, which is found on blackcomiclords.net on our store section.
Always the businessman. But he asked us to say, what is your IG, Paul and Derek?
At Black Comic Lords.
No, he says our IG.
That's what I said.
Mine is cool stuff _collect.
Oh, I don't have an IG. I have at Black Comic Lords, which is the only IG I use.
Yeah. And you can reach us at Black Comic Lords. Also, my Instagram is Richard Wright 507 on Instagram.
Am I the only one without an Instagram account?
Yeah, Paul.
You're probably the only person in the world without one. We won't hold it against you.
I don't understand Instagram. I'm sorry.
Anyway, look, guys, we got to get out of here. From the stronghold that is Black Comic Lords and Black Superheroes Forever, it's your man Paul and the Imperious Flex Derek, your boy Rich. Until next time, we'll see you guys on Saturday night for our year-end show. You want to be here, we're going to have some fun. We're going to give away some books. Going to have a good, funky, old good time. So, till then,
take care.
Say peace. We out.